Well, good afternoon, everybody. How you doing out there on this Good Friday, March 29th, 3:07 p.m. Central Daylight Saving Time. So glad that you are with us as we head into the holiday weekend. For some people, this is a getaway day, and we hope that you will travel safely. And while you're traveling either into or out of the greater Nashville area, we'll try to get you some information that will I'd like to think educate, inform, elucidate. We'll do all that.
Hallucinate?
Elucidate.
Oh, okay. All right.
I don't know.
I don't know what that means, but it's better than hallucinate.
Yeah. Well, the only one's allowed to hallucinate is me after 4 hours of radio. You start to, I just go cross-eyed trying to talk for 4 hours. But no, listen, we got a lot of stuff going on. I am, so ever since I've come to Nashville in 2018, I've been struck from time to time that we go through these periods of time where it is it's just ugly what's going out on some of the mean streets of Nashville. And I think sometimes it's easy for us to see a story and go, oh well, okay, another one. But honestly, we need to stop now and then and take stock of exactly what's going on out there and just how dangerous it can be at times. Now, dangerous and I think mean, really, really mean. I've got a story here. I've got two versions of it, right? And one of them is 4 paragraphs long. That's all that was given to the story. The other one is about 5 or 6. But let me just go through this one story because I go, holy moly, this is what's happening on our streets, and we don't even give it more than 4 paragraphs in a story from WZTV, their version of the story, and this is basically what police have told them. I'm not criticizing WZTV. I just think that there's more to this story, and I think that we ought to not become coarsened to the point where we don't understand how much life is being lost in this city and how ugly and mean the streets can be at times. Listen to this story. 2 14-year-olds have been charged with the killing of a 30-year-old Nashville man on Thursday. 2 14-year-olds now charged with murder. The Metro Nashville Police Department reports that Anthony Lee Buchanan was found dead on the scene of University Court, suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. He was found in the alley. The teens were captured on camera fleeing to a nearby apartment where police were able to find and capture Tyrese Summers and Camarion Henry, 14 years old. Inside the apartment, police say they found 4 handguns, a large amount of marijuana, and cocaine. One of the teams admitted to their involvement, stating that the shooting stemmed from this man Buchanan, the dead man, allegedly stealing $300 from Summers. Both teens are now facing criminal homicide charges, but at 14, one wonders how much time they will actually do behind bars. A man killed by a couple of 14-year-olds who, by the way it looks right here, were apparently involved in some kind of drug operation. First of all, 14-year-olds involved in a drug operation, 4 handguns found, large amount of marijuana and cocaine. And if the police are right, the police have suggested that this man was killed over $300. A man's life taken for $300. Now, what was going on there? Was it a drug deal that's gone bad? Yes, but look at all of the facts surrounding it. 14-year-olds, 2 14-year-olds charged with murder over a $300 disagreement. Here's a little bit longer from WKRN. 30-year-old man shot and killed just south of downtown Nashville Thursday night. Happened just before 10 p.m. in the University Court neighborhood. And they go on to give us a little bit more information from a police report. Anthony Lee Buchanan found in the alley, multiple gunshots. He died at the scene. Metro Department Housing Authority footage captured the shooting and the two suspects fleeing to a nearby apartment. According to Metro, detectives quickly responded to the apartment where they found two 14-year-olds who, during an interview, Summers and they say Ann Henry admitted to their involvement in the shooting, which reportedly stemmed from Buchanan's recently stealing $300 from Summer. They found 4 handguns, a large amount of marijuana and cocaine recovered from the apartment. They are now charged in juvenile court with criminal homicide and juvenile handgun possession. No other information immediately released. You say, well, it's a drug deal gone bad. Bad guy gets into it with other bad guys. That kind of thing. How can you prevent it? Well, I think number one, it is shocking to me that, somebody who's, not even out of junior high school yet, out of middle school, could be in an operation that would lead to the murder of a man over a $300 disagreement. And you say, well, that's two bad guys. One, it's a drug deal gone bad. Okay, well, listen to this. This happened not last night, but a little earlier in the week. This happened actually Thursday morning. A man was arrested after allegedly shooting another man in the head while driving on Murfreesboro Pike on Thursday morning. The shooting happened around 9 a.m. in the 1800 block of Murfreesboro Pike, just south of Nashville International Airport. Okay, what was this thing? Well, apparently, according to all of the information we have, it may have been a road rage incident. The Metro Nashville Police Department said a witness's dash camera showed a silver Chevrolet Impala in the middle turn lane passing the 55-year-old victim's vehicle before a white Acura attempted to follow suit. However, as the victim's vehicle went into the middle turn lane, forcing the Acura to slow down, the driver of the Acura reportedly swerved across lane, pulled up next to the victim's vehicle, and fired multiple shots. The Acura then continued to drive inbound on Murfreesboro Pike. The police say that the male victim was shot in the head and taken to Vanderbilt University Medical Center, and the good news is he is considered stable. I don't know how stable you are once you've been shot in the head, but apparently they say he's going to be okay. The Acura had a temporary tag and was found Thursday afternoon at its registered address on Took Drive. At home, detectives found 22-year-old David Bush of Antioch, who admitted to being behind the wheel of the Acura during the incident to authorities. Detectives said Bush told him he was driving recklessly in an attempt to follow the Impala that was driven by his girlfriend. Bush's girlfriend was also interviewed and made similar statements. Bush was charged with attempted homicide, reckless endangerment for shooting within a vehicle. He's currently being held on a $125,000 bond. The outbound lanes were closed while they did an investigation. But here we have another disagreement that turns into people whipping out a weapon and firing indiscriminately at somebody on the roadways. We've had incidents of late where, young people just walking along, minding their own business, happen to be, hit by bullet fire and killed. They weren't involved in anything. They were just minding their own business, living their best life. And because of the meanness and the gun violence that is at sometimes evident on the streets of Nashville, we saw a young woman lose her life. I think that if you were to go back over the course of a month, you'd find a lot of stories like this. And we don't pay much attention to them because, it's not a story when, you hear it day after day after day after day. It loses its impact. But we need to be aware of what's going on in our streets and what's happening in some of the neighborhoods and the amount of gun violence and young people who have turned to crime. And why are we having so much of it? And I think this comes down to the other side of the story, which is I don't get the sense that when violent crimes are committed in Nashville, there's a very high likelihood of people going to jail. I mean, it seems like a lot of these cases get pled out or they get pleaded out. A lot of these cases, they get sort of bargained down. Okay, well, that we could send him to jail on that, but if we don't have to go to trial, we'll give you something less. So they plea down. They get to a lesser charge. One way or the other, what happens ultimately is that people don't spend much, if they are violent criminals, they don't spend much time behind bars, if at all. And you hear them say, well, it's only so many cases we can try. We have to pick and choose. I'm convinced that we have a real problem in Nashville in that law enforcement is doing its job. Law enforcement is doing everything they can. I don't think we have enough police officers on the street, and I think, everybody you talk to says the same thing. We need more police officers. That's not a problem that is rare in America today. There's a lot of communities where it's hard to find police officers who want to go out there and be a part of the thin blue line because they're under such criticism. We don't have enough police officers on the street. But when they do their job, and when they do make an arrest and they put somebody in jail, I hear this all the time from rank-and-file police officers who are listeners to this program. Oh, they're not in there a half an hour. They get out really quick. They post a bond and they're back on the street, often doing the same thing they were doing before because they don't feel like there's any consequence to their actions. Listen, we need to look at the violence that's in our street. We need to look to find out why these young people are turning to such violence. We need to find out why these cases, and I think I can make a pretty strong case that a lot of these cases are not being adjudicated, not going to court. If they do go to court, their plea bargains and lesser charges are brought. And at the end of the day, we are not safer because of that process. We've looked at other cities around the country where they're having major crime problems, and they come to the same conclusion. Sometimes it's worse in other cities than it is here. But Nashville is not that, should not be that. Nashville, we deserve to have a safer community than we currently have. And we need to make sure that the way you get that is through an aggressive police force that just enforces the law and makes arrests when arrests are necessary, that they're on patrol, they police where they feel like the crime is without being second-guessed by it all. That we need to support our police department. We need to demand that our district attorney and our judges do something when somebody is actually brought into court. It's just a sad commentary on where we are in our city when you have two 14-year-old kids end up killing a 30-year-old man over a $300 debt. And we barely even make note of it. Well, we're going to start making note of things like this on this program. 20 minutes now past the hour of 3 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. Folks, the chairman of the Federal Reserve has said we're on an unsustainable fiscal path. We aren't going to pay off the $34 trillion debt anytime soon. They'll just print money to pay the interest on the debt and then to base the U.S. dollar. Maybe you want to think about making an investment in precious metals. You see, gold and silver can be a safe haven in uncertain economic times. And my friends at Nashville Gold and Coin are standing by to answer all your questions about the precious metals market. Maybe you've thought about adding gold or other precious metals to your portfolio, but you feel, well, I don't really have the knowledge to make a smart decision. Honestly, that's the way I felt. But I got the professional guidance I needed at Nashville Gold and Coin. You make an appointment, you sit down one-on-one with my friends at Nashville Gold and Coin. They'll answer all your questions and help you make the precious metal investment that is right for you. It's friendly, you'll learn a lot, you'll never be subjected to a high-pressure sales pitch. To set up that one-on-one appointment, just go to NashvilleGoldandCoin.com. By the way, you got some old coins laying around gathering dust? Bring them along. You might be surprised just how much they're worth. Again, that one-on-one appointment can be set up by going to their website, NashvilleGoldandCoin.com.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
Baltimore construction workers honoring those 6 crew members that saved lives while repairing potholes the day that bridge collapsed. A fatal fire here in Tennessee, and an update on Haiti and the catastrophic situation going on there. 3:30 Super Talk, 99.7 WTN.
Hey, look, there's Mac Morey, who will give us all of the stories in the newscast here coming up in just a few moments. Also, he's the star, really, a bright, shining star of the runaway hit segment, Mac Morey's Wild World of Sports. Please tell Matt Murphy the correct name of the segment.
Yes, you're right. I should have corrected it.
There's a wild in there because we don't want to be sued by ABC News.
But do we even know the correct name for the segment?
No, some days
I'm
we
not
don't.
sure.
No, I'm not sure. It varies from day to day. But good to have you in on this Good Friday.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of people headed, over the river and through the woods to Grandma's house or visiting family, and as we celebrate Easter Sunday.
Yeah, I was going to ask, was this a company holiday I didn't know about? I pull into the parking lot and there's like 2 cars.
Yeah, no one's here.
Wow, really?
Yeah, I guess everyone's unofficially taking the day off.
Yeah, working from home. Yeah, those people who work from home, you got to watch them.
Slackers.
Slackers they are. Listen, I have such fond memories of the many Easters that I spent back in West Texas. My grandmother on my mom's side didn't live far away, about 90 miles away in Hobbs, New Mexico, and she was big into Easter. I mean, boy, when they came through the door, there were goodies.
Oh, boy.
It's the best.
And it was always fun. Always
Easter egg hunts, I'm sure.
Yep. Except that, I don't eat eggs. So, you got all these boiled eggs and you go through all the things of coloring them. And then I just look at them and say, what are we going to do with them now?
My grandfather loved them. Like, it never failed. I think Easter was probably one of his favorite holidays because he knew he would get to eat a bunch of boiled eggs. He loved them.
Yeah, I hate eggs. I just, But, it seemed like, remember we used to get those Paws dye kits?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and you put them in water with a little vinegar and hot water, and and they all turned out purple. I don't know why. All mine always end up,
You can't mix.
I'd mix colors, and then it would just be sort of they'd all be purple.
Can't do that.
Yeah, I don't know. It didn't work out well, but those were fun days. When's the last time have you actually colored? I mean, you've got a kid.
Yeah, but I mean, he's 16, so it's been probably 7, 8, 10 years, maybe even. Long time, yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time I did it. I mean, I did it with my daughter, but she's about to graduate from college, so it's been a long time since I've done all that. But yeah, that's always fun, fun thing. And then they came out with those sparkles, where you would have the egg and you would dye it, but while it was wet, you put it in a like a plastic bag with some sparkle stuff.
That sounds like a mess waiting to happen.
And then the wax crayons where you could write things on the eggs, and the dye would not penetrate the wax, so it would be very bright white.
Yeah. Or also, I remember, and I think this was when I was a kid, they had the little shrinky tubes. Like it was like a plastic tube that you would slide over the egg.
Wraps, right.
And then dip it in the hot water, and it would shrink up to the size of the egg. And it would have a fancy decoration or whatever.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that.
Mm-hmm. You missed out, Mac.
Yeah, I did.
Favorite Easter candy?
It's got to be the Reese's. I mean, you can't go wrong with the Reese's.
Chocolate and peanut butter is hard to beat that.
I'm a bit. Reese's is mine too, but I'm a huge fan, controversially, of the
Peeps.
Peeps, yes.
Oh, good grief.
Love Peeps.
I can't deal with the marshmallow.
To me, the only thing that Peep is worth is putting it in the microwave and watching it explode. You ever done that? Put a Peep in the microwave?
Oh, yeah.
And they get huge, and then it just and you got marshmallow everywhere.
Oh, you know what? I just forgot. I want to amend my answer. My favorite Easter candy are the Cadbury mini eggs.
Oh, yep.
It's just a candy coated chocolate. But it's I just sit there and eat like half a bag at a time. Love them.
I had a real love, and I've not seen them in a while. There used to be a company called Brock's. I think they're still out there.
Yep.
And Brock's used to take these, like, they were marshmallow covered with chocolate, and they would be like in an egg container.
Yes, I remember those.
Remember those? And you put them, and there'd be like, it'd be like a dozen of them, which I could eat. Like, I could eat a dozen of those in like, a minute. I just loved them so much, but that I think was my favorite.
Yeah, those were okay.
Then you had the sugar covered, multicolored marshmallow eggs that are sort of hard. Those are the ones that so cheap that then you buy them by the bag, and then that's what I always end up. We would go egg hunting with those, trying to find those out there. The funniest story is that we went to my grandmother and grandfather's house in Hobbs, New Mexico. And we did an Easter egg hunt with actual eggs that we had dyed. And about, I don't know, maybe 6-8 months later, my grandfather says, there's something in this house that smells bad.
Uh-oh.
There's something in this house that doesn't smell good. And they found one of the eggs had fallen down inside the couch. A little Easter surprise.
Yes, sir.
6 months later. 30 minutes now past the hour of 3 o'clock on Super Talk.
3:30, I'm Mac Morey with your top story. 73 degrees and set to get even a little bit warmer this weekend here in Middle Tennessee. A weather forecast, traffic report coming up in 5 minutes. In Baltimore this afternoon, local construction workers and immigration advocates gathered inside the immigrant organization CASA's Baltimore Workers Center to honor the 6 crew members who'd been repairing potholes on the Francis Scott Key Bridge at the time of the collapse. Here's Dave Packer.
Several of those who died in the Baltimore Bridge collapse have been identified as migrants from Honduras, Guatemala, and Mexico who are living in the Baltimore area. CASA's executive director, Gustavo Torres.
Here, we are reminded once again about the enormous contribution that the immigrants make to this country, how together we U.S. border workers, we build this country.
2 workers' bodies have been recovered. 4 remain submerged under the bridge debris.
A fatal fire in Tennessee. An elderly woman killed. 3 others escaped after a Williamson County house fire this morning. The home on Albany Drive. The 3 others who escaped are related to the elderly woman. Firefighters and family members attempted to enter that home during the blaze, but the flames were too dangerous. In a newly released report on Haiti from the United Nations saying immediate and bold action must be taken to handle the catastrophic situation there. The report saying Haiti now needs between 4,000 and 5,000 international police to help the struggling nation emerge out of lawlessness after being completely overrun by gang violence. The U.S. State Department saying 450 U.S. citizens have gotten out of Haiti since March 17th, with helicopter flights continuing to take Americans to the Dominican Republic. Matt Rivers has been reporting on Haiti.
We know that, at least statistically speaking, because of this UN report that just came out, the numbers are striking. In the first couple months of this year alone, going up to March 22nd, more than 1,500 people have been killed in Haiti as a result of this ongoing violence. And those people, according to the UN, are not involved with the gangs or the police. These are people who are essentially just innocent bystanders in all this. It's a staggering number.
And that is the latest news, traffic, and weather on the way. I'm Mac Morey, WTN News.
Hey, it's Dan Mandison. I love My Patriot Supply. It's emergency food so you can care for your family no matter what. And today, we're fixing creamy chicken-flavored rice. And the thing I love about My Patriot Supply, it's easy. You just get the water, turn on the heat, and in minutes, we are ready to go. Now, this food lasts for 25 years in special packaging, and yes, it does taste great. And in just minutes, it's ready to eat. Patriots don't rely on the government to take care of their family in emergencies. It's up to you. Order right now and get $200 off a 3-month food kit. It's important to go to preparewithmandis.com to get that great discount. That's preparewithmandis.com to get that great discount. Preparewithmandis.com. $200 off a 3-month food kit.
Listen, if you have problems with the air conditioning, I mean, it's getting up there, 72 degrees right now, and we're heading into the warmer season. If your air conditioner is not getting it done, you think maybe, this thing, it's not cooling like it should. Don't waste any time. Call the number I would call, 775-7833. That's the number to Busy Bee, HVAC and Plumbing, and they'll buzz right over to your house, and they'll start working on it and get you up and running as soon as possible. But, the way that you avoid having these things crash on you is to do preventative maintenance. They'll last so much longer if you do that. And so you might want to become a member of the Beehive Club. It starts with as little as $99. And for that, here's what you get. 3 thorough maintenance services on your system, 1 aimed at heating, 1 aimed at cooling, 1 aimed at plumbing. No overtime charges 24/7, and 10% off all repairs. Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, of course, is your official Rude Pro partner. So for satisfaction guaranteed, call Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, 615-775-7833, online at busybeehvac.com. 38 minutes now past the hour of 3 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. I'm Brian Wilson, and you're listening to The Drive on this beautiful March 29th, wrapping up the month. And when we come back, it'll be April. So, we got things going on here. Hey, let me just make mention of the fact that coming up in our 4 o'clock hour and our 5 o'clock hour, not one, but two chances for you to climb up on our 100,000-watt soapbox and express yourself. Yes, that's right. It's Friday, and we do a little thing called Phone Your Farb Friday. So maybe during the week I've said something that just hacked you off, or maybe you got something that you just got to get off your chest. Maybe you've heard a story and you just you couldn't call in at the time. Whatever it is, you can climb up on our 100,000-watt soapbox and express yourself within boundaries. It is a family show. So that'll happen at 4:35 after the news and 5:35 after the news. It's Phone Your Farb Friday. Oh, yes, I'm your Farb. In case you're just listening to what's a Farb? Well, I mean, there may be some people visiting. They don't know what a Farb is. I mean, I thought most everybody knew by now, but, I'm your friend and radio buddy. I'm your Farb.
You came up with that all by yourself.
Yeah, I did. I'm your Farb. So Phone Your Farb coming up at 4:35, 5:35. Don't want to miss it. Now, I'm telling you, I'm sending up the flare on this. You need to be concerned about this. We are headed in this country to a crash. I'm not talking financially. I don't know. We may have a financial crash. I don't know. I'm just not an expert in that area. But we're going to a point where we're going to start really running short of power, electricity especially. Now, think about that. What happens when there's a big demand for electricity and we can't generate enough of it? Well, I mean, that means that some people go without. It also means that when there is a high demand for electricity and we don't have enough capacity to generate it, that electricity that you do buy is going to be really expensive. But I mean, there is a crash point on our horizon, and anybody who can't see it is just not paying attention. Listen to this story. Great article, found it in the Wall Street Journal. You can read it by going to the link on yourfarb.com, and it'll say, I forget what the link is, but it's there. I forget what I titled it. Here's the deal. Projections for U.S. electricity demand growth over the next 5 years have doubled from a year ago. 1 year ago, we had certain expectations about what our future power needs would need to be, and now we have doubled them. The estimates have doubled. Well, we're not increasing the amount of energy generation capacity that we have in this country. The major culprits, and this is something you might not have thought about. I did pick up on this a while back. These new artificial intelligence data centers. Think about this for a moment. When you have server farms, they take a lot of electricity. But you take a server farm that does AI work, that does AI, artificial intelligence work. Apparently, the energy demands of these centers are unbelievably high. Much higher than you might have believed. I mean, that cute little thing that you did with AI, that photo that you had developed, or that thing that you played around with AI, you can't imagine the amount of energy it took to produce that. The major culprits: new artificial intelligence data centers, federally subsidized manufacturing plants, and, here we go, the government-driven electric vehicle transition that they're pushing down our throats. Georgia Power, for example, recently increased 17-fold its winter power demand forecast by 2031, citing growth in new industries such as EV and battery factories. AEP Ohio says new data centers and Intel's $20 billion chip plant will increase the strain they have on their grid. Chip factories and data centers can consume 100 times more power than a typical industrial business. PMJ Interconnection, which operates the wholesale power market across 13 Midwest and Northeast states this year, doubled its 15-year annual forecast for demand growth. It projected power demand for the region for 2029 has increased by about 10 gigawatts. That's about twice as much electricity as New York City uses in one day. Don't expect the power to come from New York, which is marching forward toward a power shortage as it shuts down nuclear and fossil fuel power in favor of, yes, wind and solar. We're going to have windmills, and the sun is going to shine. It's going to solve all our problems. A new Micron chip factory in upstate New York is expected to require as much power by the 2040s as the entire states of New Hampshire and Vermont combined today. See where we're headed? Huge energy demands. And we are not building new power plants. We're not building nuclear. We're shutting down all the fossil fuel plants. At some point, the lines on the grid are going to cross there, and you're going to have a real crisis on your hands where electricity is just not available. Electric demand to power data centers is expected to increase by 13 to 15% compounded annually through 2030. Yet a shortage of power is already delaying new data centers by 2 to 6 years, according to commercial real estate firms. These companies can't build them because where are we going to build them? I don't know. We got to have electricity. Well, let's find a place where we can find electricity. There aren't many places that have the excess capacity to meet the need. I read a story the other day, and I wish I could find it again, but the basic deal was that there was this trucking company that wanted to go green. They wanted to replace all of their big, Kenilworths and Mack trucks with electric trucks, big semi-electric trucks. And there are some out there. You know what they found out? They couldn't do it simply because the power grid could not support it. What they found was that their overnight charging was going to be greater than the electric demands of the town in which they lived. And there just was no way to do it all. And the electric company said, we don't have the grid to support that. I'm sorry, we just don't. Amazon struck in order to try to, they see this coming. They struck a $650 million deal to buy a data center in Pennsylvania powered by a on-site 2.5 gigawatt nuclear power plant. Data centers, like manufacturing plants, require reliable power around the clock, which wind and solar do not provide. Businesses can't afford to wait for batteries to become cost-effective. Building transmission lines to connect distant renewables to the grid typically takes 10 to 12 years. Have you seen anybody building new grid? I've not seen it. I've seen no indication at all that the grid is being upgraded. We're just rocking along. I mean, we can see it coming. It's on the horizon. You think we'd be doing something about it, but we're not. And in the meantime, they continue to push for green cars. We're going to have advancements in AI, and there's going to be all kinds of things that are going to demand more electricity. We're simply not meeting the need. Because of these challenges, Obama Energy Secretary Ernest Moniz last week predicted that utilities will ultimately have to rely on more gas, coal, and nuclear plants to support surging demand. We're not going to build 100 gigawatts of new renewables in a few years. No kidding. The problem is that utilities are rapidly retiring fossil fuel and nuclear plants. We are subtracting dispatchable fossil fuel resources at a pace that's not sustainable, and we can't build dispatchable resource to replace the dispatchable resources that we're shutting down, said Federal Energy Regulatory Commissioner Mark Christie earlier this month. About 20 gigawatts of fossil fuel power are scheduled to retire over the next 2 years, enough to power 15 million homes, including a large natural gas plant in Massachusetts that serves as a crucial source of electricity in cold snaps. PJM's external market monitor last week warned that up to 30% of the region's installed capacity is at risk of retiring by 2030. I mean, how in the world can we possibly do this? If we retire the fossil fuels, we're not building new plants. They won't even consider building a new fossil fuel coal-fired plant. That's nobody will allow you to do that in the Biden world. We have all kinds of issues with the idea of nuclear, which I think is the long-term solution, but we're not building nuclear power plants. No. The Biden people, the tree huggers, the Green New Deal folks, they tell you, don't worry, we're going to build solar farms. We're going to have wind and windmills, and yes, they'll kill a few birds, but we don't care. We're going to do it. It's going to be green. Well, listen to this story. You know, the problem is you got to go into places where there's wide open spaces to build these solar farms. Where are wide open spaces in this country? They happen to be a lot of them in Tornado Alley. Solar farm the size of 2,500 football fields destroyed in Texas amid a growing solar e-waste problem. The hailstorm struck the 3,204-acre Fighting Jays solar farm, the equivalent of nearly 2,500 football fields. That's huge. 2,500 football fields. Think about that. A massive solar farm near Houston, Texas, suffered extensive damage from a hailstorm. Hail presents a major risk to solar farms, which can add to a growing e-waste problem from the industry. The storm produced 3.5 inches of rain in 15 minutes, as well as a tremendous amount of hail. Some reports said, and I've seen this happen, that the hail was the size of a softball.
Good grief.
Yeah. Or as Dave Letterman used to say, hail the size of canned hams. It's huge. I mean, you know, there are places in this country where you really can see hail that large. Golf ball size hail will just destroy a roof. What do you think it does to solar panels? There's nothing you can do about it. Look at the hail hits on the panels. We're talking about 590,000 panels. Solar farms wear out over time. Panels can last 40 years. Their production efficiency declines. Did you know this? After 25 years. Cumulative waste volumes that will be produced as solar panels reach the end of their useful life will be as much as 78 million tons by 2050. You got to get rid of these. And by the way, they're not very ecologically friendly. Yeah, I mean, shocking, isn't it? That we are counting on solar to be our major way out of this looming electricity problem that we have. And yet, you know, can you imagine if we got so dependent on solar, then we had a bunch of bad storms and major solar panels and farms like this were taken out or by tornadoes? It could happen. It's not as reliable as your old-fashioned coal-fired, natural gas-fired electric generation plant. And there's a day, and it's not that far away, where we're really going to start seeing the squeeze when it comes to something that we have always thought would be there. You flip on the switch and the light turns on, right? Maybe not so much in the future. We need to really get on this. 51 minutes now past the hour, 3 o'clock. Hey, are you in the market for a pole barn? Well, the brothers that run Stoltzko are two guys you need to talk to. Exceptional quality, craftsmanship, fair prices. They can build you a new pole barn to your specifications with your needs in mind. That's the Stoltzko difference. Now, you can use pole barns for all kinds of things. It can function as a classic tool or work barn, a garage. You can even make it a place to live. It's called a barn-dominium. It's cool. A lot of people are building barn-dominiums these days. They combine the classic post-frame barn look with the reliability of modern materials and techniques to give you a finished barn that will stand the test of time. They don't scrimp on quality. They don't cut corners. They believe their customers deserve only the best. So do me a favor. Go to the website, Stoltzko.com. I'm going to spell that for you, Stoltzco, Stoltzko, and look at some of the things they've done for other people. And then you're going to want to call them, 615-622-5992. Stoltzko is where quality workmanship and great customer service is affordable. Learn more at Stoltzco.com. That's Stoltzco.com.
Hey, it's Dan Mandison. I love My Patriot Supply. It's emergency food so you can care for your family no matter what. And today, we're fixing creamy chicken flavored rice. And the thing I love about My Patriot Supply, it's easy. You just get the water, turn on the heat, and in minutes, we are ready to go. Now, this food lasts for 25 years in special packaging, and yes, it does taste great. And in just minutes, it's ready to eat. Patriots don't rely on the government to take care of their family in emergencies. It's up to you. Order right now and get $200 off a 3-month food kit. It's important to go to preparewithmandis.com to get that great discount. That's preparewithmandis.com to get that great discount. Preparewithmandis.com. $200 off a 3-month food kit.
4 o'clock, I'm Mac Maury with your top stories. 74 degrees in Nashville. Gorgeous day and got a beautiful weekend ahead. Complete weather forecast plus a traffic report coming up in 5 minutes. Maryland's governor outlined several goals in the aftermath of the Baltimore bridge collapse.
Maryland Governor Wes Moore with the task at hand.
We need to clear the channel and open the vessel traffic to the port because the health of the Maryland economy and the national economy depend on it.
While at the same time,
we need to continue to focus on recovery because we have to bring a sense of closure to these families.
The bodies of 4 bridge workers are believed to be underwater beneath the bridge wreckage.
That was Dave Packer reporting. Now back here in Tennessee with a troubling crime story. An East Nashville couple was arrested last night after being charged with the rape of a child. Officials say that 38-year-old Angel Slattery and her husband, 24-year-old Michael Slattery, are alleged to have raped a child repeatedly over the course of 5 years. The victim was 7 years old when the alleged abuse began. The victim allegedly told police that the couple who had custody of him would sexually assault him together and separately. The couple was arrested on Dickerson Pike. And some good news, if you don't like the flu, it appears that virus season is over. Here's Andy Field with details.
The CDC reporting that as the nation enters April, respiratory illness season has ended for much of the country. But COVID does not appear to have a season, and health experts say it may rise sporadically the rest of the year. Flu typically dissipates when it's warmer, but it's not over for everyone. 7 states, including Iowa, Michigan, New Mexico, North Dakota, Ohio, Wyoming, along with New York City and D.C., are still seeing higher flu cases.
Drugs in Tennessee. Around 500 pounds of marijuana were found during a drug stop in Haywood County. This was on Wednesday night. Officials stopped the Mercedes Sprinter van. They noticed an inconsistency in the wall between the front and rear of the van. They used an X-ray to review the wall panel. They saw packages of drugs inside. They found a quarter of a ton or 491 pounds of marijuana and THC edibles concealed inside of that wall. The man taken into custody, now awaiting bond. And we're now hearing the 911 calls made to University of Nevada, Las Vegas police in December when a gunman opened fire on campus, killing 3 faculty members. He later died in a shootout with police. The calls now released by UNLV. Here's Alex Stone.
University police.
As shots were fired around them, frantic students and staff called UNLV campus police.
There's gunshots in
Quickly, 2 overwhelmed campus police call takers jumped from call to call. As students hid from the gunman, some of the callers were drowned out by fire alarms going off. Police believe the shooter held a grudge about not getting a job at UNLV and opened fire.
And that is the latest news, traffic and weather on the way. I'm Mac Maury, WTN News.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
It is 7 minutes now past the hour, 4 o'clock, beginning hour number 2 of The Drive on this Friday, March 29th. You're listening to Super Talk 99.7. I am your friend and radio buddy, Brian Wilson, and this is The Drive. A lot of people driving right now. Maybe they're, going to see relatives, spend time with family. This is Good Friday, and we are headed into did I mention we're headed into the Easter weekend? Here it comes. Everybody, Mac Moore needs to put on his ears.
I think he's intentionally ignoring it.
Oh.
Hip, hip, hoppin', hip, 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 hoppin'. That's right.
If you weren't already singing it, now you will be.
That's right, because this is one of those earworms. This gets in your head, and you just can't get rid of it. But we started playing this song way back when I was doing the mornings, and I think it's catchy, quite frankly. The hip
catchy,
waiters.
that's one way to put it.
They're the hip waiters, is who this.
Yeah.
Ho! All right, let's get one more time with the hip hip hoppies. I love it.
Hip hip hop it. Hip hip hop it.
Okay. Thank you.
Much better.
That's good while it lasted. That was good. I mean, and now, I defy you to forget that song.
Rest of the day.
Hip, rest of the day, you're going to be going hip, hip, hop, and you're going to be doing that all day long. All right, let's go with our 2024 update. Here we go. No numbers today. And you say, thank you, Brian. But we do have a lot of things that I hear people talk about all the time. They say, are we doing everything we need to do to make sure that we're going to have an even-handed, level playing field election? And I think we are. There are things that keep cropping up, though, that, they need some attention. And I'll tell you something, the Biden administration, when you're in office and you are the sitting president, there are a lot of things that federal government can do that can help you to get reelected. It shouldn't be that way, but it does happen. So here we go. This story is going to hack you off, I promise you. The federal government is using its vast resources and its largest agencies to register new voters and expand mail-in balloting with the help of nonprofits. A federal effort to register voters using the government's vast reach, including, you ready for this, throughout the U.S. prison system, is raising concerns from critics who've said it won't benefit Democrats and Republicans equally. That's right. I think that's probably true. From the Epic Times, Mississippi Secretary of State Michael Watson wrote to U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland on the 6th of March, alleging that agencies under the Attorney General's charge are, quote, attempting to register people to vote, including potentially ineligible felons, and to co-opt state and local officials into accomplishing this goal. The allegation relates to President Joe Biden's executive order 14019, which states, quote, the head of each agency shall evaluate ways in which the agency can, as appropriate and consistent with applicable law, promote voter registration and voter participation. Well, look, I don't think it's the government's job to do that at all. I don't. I mean, I want people to vote. I want people to be motivated enough to vote, but government shouldn't be putting its hand on the scale, shouldn't be trying to push this idea. That's not the role of government. It's the role of citizenry. Among other things, the order has forced U.S. Marshals to modify more than 900 contracts with prisons and jails to provide voter registration documents and facilitate mail-in voting for inmates, Mr. Watson wrote. We have worked extremely hard to restore the confidence of Mississippi voters in our election process, Mr. Watson told the Epic Times. To have the Biden administration and DOJ purposefully undermine these efforts and jeopardize the integrity of Mississippi's elections is unacceptable. The Secretary of State is the chief election officer in the state of Mississippi. The work by the Department of Justice to register voters in prison, critics say, is just the tip of the iceberg. Other agencies, including the Department of Education, the Department of Agriculture, the Department of Health and Human Services, and the Department of Housing and Urban Development, are also carrying out campaigns to sign up new voters. So if you're in charge of public housing and you go out there and you try to sign up a bunch of people that you're dealing with over at HUD, what kind of voters do you think they're going to be? Democrat or Republican voters? Just saying. On February 26th, Vice President Kamala Harris lauded a federal plan to use work-study grants. Oh, I remember this story. To pay students to register voters. All right. Okay, so you've got universities. They have got work-study grants that they give you, and we'll pay you. We, the federal government, will pay you, students, in these major liberal universities around the country to register voters. Well, which voters do you think they're going to go after? Are they going to focus their attention on Republican voters, or are they going to go after signing up, young people who traditionally vote Democrat? A lot of them do. That one really irritates me a lot. Because, if you're doing a work-study grant, I'm not sure this is what that was intended for. In addition, President Biden's executive order directed federal agencies to select approved, nonpartisan third-party organizations and state officials to provide voter registration services on agency premises. Critics say elections are under the purview of states, not the federal government. I agree, and they should not be getting involved. The reason is it's such a big problem is with the president, it's only one political party that's in power. If you allow the president to be the one to decide where all these massive resources are channeled, that's problematic. Adding that this is why the founders gave election authority to states and not the federal executive. It's so angering. The plan has been called Biden bucks by some of its detractors, referencing the injection of state election programs of $400 million in 2020 from Facebook co-founder Mark Zuckerberg, dubbed Zuckerbucks. This is Zuckerbucks on steroids because instead of $400 million, it's unlimited funding and resources and the reach of the federal government and all its offices located across the country. Previous efforts to federalize elections through Congress have failed. Democrats say the bill was necessary to fight voter suppression by state governments. Really? What do you call voter suppression? I think what you call voter suppression, I call voter integrity measures. Like, I don't know, what a concept. Proving you are who you say you are when you go to cast your ballot with a photo ID. Or, okay, maybe that's impossible. How about a utility bill? That'll do. Just bring in a utility bill. Anything, just to give us some sense that you are this person. Wow. President Biden's executive order includes the directive for federal agencies to find ways to distribute vote-by-mail ballot application forms, as well as assist applicants in completing the application in a manner consistent with all relevant state laws. Yeah, right. Since the president signed this executive order, a number of attempts have been made to obtain information about how federal agencies will implement it, particularly which private organizations it has selected to work out of federal offices alongside government officials. Don't you just wish that the federal government would take care of its business and leave the way that elections are conducted as the Constitution imagined it to the states? No, they want to put their thumb on the scale. They're going to use the bully pulpit of the executive branch to do everything they can to sign up voters, but they're not going to just sign up voters. They're going to sign up their voters. So I'm telling you, it is very concerning, very concerning. Each individual federal agency has to look at the executive order and then figure out what they're going to do. And, of course, since all of these agencies are run by people appointed by the Biden administration, by the president himself, and serve at the mercy of the president, the whim of the president, they're going to do everything they can to keep the president happy because they see the world the same way that he does. This is bad. This is really bad. The federal government should not be playing in this pool. It's not their job to do what the Constitution said was the responsibility of the states. From justthenews.com, top Georgia GOP official illegally voted 9 times. Is the fine for this? $5,000. A top Georgia Republican Party official has been fined $5,000 for voting illegally 9 times. I don't care if it's a Republican. I don't care if it's a Democrat. You should go after these people. He pleaded guilty to check forgery charges in Pennsylvania, received probation. While on probation was originally for 3 years, it was extended because he didn't pay restitution. He registered to vote, signed a form stating that he was not serving a felony sentence. When he was cross-examined, he said he wasn't aware he was prohibited from registering to vote and didn't believe that he had 3 years of probation in 2008 because he thought the issue had been resolved. One way or the other. One way or the other. This is an example of what can happen. So you're counting on the honesty of people who are in prison to admit that, well, I can't really sign that because I'm a felon and I'm not supposed to do that. So I'll take a pass. No, that's not the way it's going to happen. That's not going to happen. Republican National Committee has filed a lawsuit Thursday against Michigan Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson over the handling of absentee ballots. This from the Daily Caller. The lawsuit alleges that Benson secretly tried to circumvent the state's absentee voting safeguards, claiming that the party found that the Secretary of State issued private instructions to local election officials ahead of the 24 February primary election. Benson allegedly instructed the election officials in private that they must presume the validity of absentee voters' signature, the lawsuit shows. Michigan's state constitution is very clear. Election officials have to verify the identity of voters casting absentee ballots. Jocelyn Benson is yet again working to undermine election integrity by secretly instructing officials to disregard and circumvent these clear requirements of the law. The RNC is suing Benson because Michiganders deserve election integrity, not underhanded Democrat schemes. They also deserve a better name than Michiganders, I think. It's just me. It's just weird. Take a gander at that Michigander.
I picture someone standing over Lake Michigan just staring out over it.
What's good for the Michigander is good for the Michigoose. What is good for the Michigoose is good for the Michigander. I don't know. Sorry, I got diverted. The RNC's the Thursday lawsuit is the second against Benson in the last month. The party sued Michigan Secretary of State on March 14th, alleging that the state failed to abide by the National Voter Registration Act, a requirement that voter rolls be kept clean and accurate. And you have to make sure that when we say clean, we mean there aren't going to be dead people. I'm telling you, the Democrats, they love them some dead people. They will do everything they can to make sure that if you're a dead person, that you're going to get a chance to, rise from the grave.
I see dead people.
That's right. They see them everywhere, mostly on voter rolls. But you got to keep those things clean. Honestly, seriously, kidding aside, that's the first step in voter integrity, making sure that the rolls are accurate and not bloated with people who have moved out of state or people that, who are dead. People who have been, convicted of felonies who aren't supposed to be able to vote. All of that stuff needs to be cleaned up. And in many, many, many states, see, the reason why Michigan is so important is because that's where it's probably going to be decided. The election, the way it's shaping up right now, is very tight, and Michigan is where we got to watch. I hope the GOP stays on this and stays on this particular Secretary of State, because they're gonna try to pull every dirty trick in the book in Michigan because they're so worried about it. So very worried about it. It is now 21 minutes past the hour of 4 o'clock.
Hey, it's Dan Mandison. I love My Patriot Supply. It's emergency food so you can care for your family no matter what. And today, we're fixing creamy chicken flavored rice. And the thing I love about My Patriot Supply, it's easy. You just get the water, turn on the heat, and in minutes, we are ready to go. Now, this food lasts for 25 years in special packaging, and yes, it does taste great. And in just minutes, it's ready to eat. Patriots don't rely on the government to take care of their family in emergencies. It's up to you. Order right now and get $200 off a 3-month food kit. It's important to go to preparewithmandis.com to get that great discount. That's preparewithmandis.com to get that great discount. Preparewithmandis.com. $200 off a 3-month food kit.
Taking a look at the dangerous work ahead in Baltimore's Francis Scott Key Bridge repair and the money news. 4:30 Super Talk, then a 9-7 WTN.
26 minutes now past the hour, 4 o'clock. I want to mention once again to get ready with your thoughts, your coherent, your cogent, your comprehensive, your, congenial thoughts. I mean, let's be nice. It's a holiday weekend as we get ready for Phone Your Farb Friday at 4:35 after the news with Mac Morey. Boy, folks, this Riley strain thing has gotten very strange. When we heard the other day that his body had been recovered from the Cumberland River, He said, well, no obvious signs of foul play. But then, as we have learned more since then, we've learned that there's some very odd things about the state of the body when it was pulled from the river. Now, if you don't know the story, 22-year-old student from Missouri who came to town with a bunch of his buddies, went out partying, ended up at one point at Luke Bryan's bar down on Lower Broad. Apparently he became in violation of their standards of conduct, and they asked him to leave, and he left. But he was seen on video stumbling. At one point he fell. I've got a timeline here. It all happened pretty quick because one thing's about it, and today when something happens, there are cameras everywhere. He leaves Luke's 32 Bridge Bar on Broadway at 9:35. At 9:46, he is walking along and falls and collides with a pole, but then he got back up, either hit his head or his shoulders, really not clear. And then Strain interacted with a police officer on Gay Street who was just there investigating some kind of stolen car incident, and that was at 9:50. The next morning, his buddies realized, we don't know where he is. They started calling around 1:46 a.m. on the 9th, the next morning, and it was 14 days later that his body was found in the Cumberland River about 8 miles downriver from where they found, and this is the strange thing, they found his ATM card on the bank. Well, we now know that when they pulled him from the river, he didn't have any pants on, and he didn't have any boots on. He still had his shirt, but he didn't have his pants, and therefore his wallet was missing. And he didn't have his boots, but his socks were still on. Now, when you talk to people who know about these kinds of things, and we've got a tremendous resource here in the state of Tennessee with Tennessee's Body Farm, University of Tennessee, they have forensic experts there who are experts on this kind of thing, and the foremost expert in the world on body decomposition. They say his pants did not come off once he got in the water. His boots and pants did not come off. I have a pair of boots, and it takes everything I can do to get them off my feet at the end of the day, right? So they don't come off easily, and then the pants are not going to come off unless the boots were off first. So he's in the river. He doesn't have his pants. He still has his socks on, but his boots and his pants are gone. Still wearing his Apple Watch. So some people say, well, maybe he decided to go for a swim in an inebriated state. You don't jump in with your Apple Watch, and you don't leave your socks on. So I don't think that's it. I think it really comes down to what happened at that location where they found his ATM card. Nothing else, just his ATM card in the grass. I think that's a great question. I think there are many questions here. There is a second autopsy that is now being conducted in this particular case at the request of the family. The family is taking care of it. And the family says, quote unquote, according to News Channel 5, we have some big things to share next week. Toxicology reports will be several weeks before they are returned. But the bizarre case of Riley Strain, it seems in the last 24 hours, as we've learned more, has become more and more bizarre, and many questions loom. 30 minutes now past the hour of 4 o'clock.
.430, I'm Mac Morey with your top stories. Right now, 74 degrees and a sunny day on Music Row. Got a forecast traffic report just ahead in 5 minutes. There is hazardous work ahead for workers clearing the twisted metal and concrete that was Baltimore's Francis Scott Key Bridge. Here's Dave Packer.
The work to reopen the Baltimore shipping channel blocked by the wreckage of the Francis Scott Key Bridge will be fraught with danger. The large sections of the bridge laying on the river floor are much heavier than the 1,000-ton capacity of the largest crane at the site. In order to hoist them out, divers will have to go underwater to cut the sections into lighter segments, all the while battling strong, fast-moving currents and low visibility. Clearing the debris could take months.
And now over to some money news. Chuck Sievertson lets us know what happened today on Wall Street.
Markets were closed for the Good Friday holiday. When they reopen on Monday, investors will likely react to Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell telling a San Francisco conference that the board wants to cut interest rates, but won't be ready until it sees more good inflation readings. Another inflation measure the Fed closely tracks slipped last month, meaning prices are still easing. The Commerce Department says prices rose 0.3% from January to February, slowing down from a 0.4% increase the month before. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration is investigating complaints that more than 540,000 Ford pickup trucks can abruptly downshift, increasing the risk of a crash. EPA has set strict emission standards for heavy-duty trucks, buses, and other large vehicles. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton is investigating a key Boeing supplier that's already under scrutiny by federal regulators over the quality of its work.
And that is the latest news, traffic, and weather on the way. I'm Mac Morey, WTN News.
Hey, it's Dan Mandison. I love My Patriot Supply. It's emergency food so you can care for your family no matter what. And today, we're fixing creamy chicken flavored rice. And the thing I love about My Patriot Supply, it's easy. You just get the water, turn on the heat, and in minutes, we are ready to go. Now, this food lasts for 25 years in special packaging, and yes, it does taste great. And in just minutes, it's ready to eat. Patriots don't rely on the government to take care of their family in emergencies. It's up to you. Order right now and get $200 off a 3-month food kit. It's important to go to preparewithmandis.com to get that great discount. That's preparewithmandis.com to get that great discount. Preparewithmandis.com. $200 off a 3-month food kit.
Hey, listen, are you okay with how much you weigh? I know it's a personal question. I was decidedly not happy with my weight. I started regaining a lot of the weight that I lost last year, and I didn't want to yo-yo. I didn't want to go back up and down, up and down. I wanted to do something about it. Now, I have never taken on a weight loss client before, but I'm impressed with the program that Jamie and Carly over at Restoration Wellness Med Spa in Lebanon developed for me. You see, it's not a one-size-fits-all approach. They took a look at my history and my lifestyle and suggested an approach that is starting to show some real results. Amazingly, this is the best part, I'm not hungry. I don't suffer that well. Beyond that, Cabana Wife and I are undergoing peptide therapy at Restoration Wellness Med Spa and are thrilled with the results. We both have noticed greater mental clarity and increased energy. So whether your goal is to lose weight or improve your overall health, Restoration Wellness Med Spa has a solution for you. Maybe it's time for you to join more than 1,000 patients who have already seen life-changing results. Here's the number, 615-470-8124. Learn more at restorationwellnessmedspa.com. It is 38 minutes past the hour of 4 o'clock. I'm Brian Wilson. You're listening to The Drive, and since it is that time, and it's Friday, time for a little thing we like to call Phone Your Farb Friday. That's right. We want to know what's on your mind. 615-737-9986. Maybe you got to be in your body. Maybe you got to burn your saddle. Maybe you got a bug in a place that I hope you really never ever have a bug. Hey. Just climb up onto our 100,000-watt soapbox and express yourself within boundaries because it is a family show. 615-737-9986. Got a full board already. You folks are itching to go. So let's get after it. Martin calling in from Lewisburg. Martin, you're on with Brian on The Drive. Martin, what's on your mind today?
How you doing, Brian? I think I just had to put myself in the same place a person who had too much to drink, put myself in Mr. Strange's situation, and it seems pretty basic to me, pretty simple. I figure if I could take a shower and cool off, I could go back to see my buddies and have some more beers, but I can't do that, so I'm down here by the river, and I think, well, I'm 6'7". I think it's over here on the side of the bank. I probably could stand up here in this water, so I'll take my pants off, my boots, and keep my wallet in there. I don't want to get
why would you keep your socks on?
Well, it wouldn't matter. I mean, you figure you might cut your feet on some rocks or something, it might help.
Yeah. Listen. I don't know what the deal is here, but it sort of strains credulity to me. It makes me really wonder about this whole thing, about why he would be in the water without his boots and with his pants. You know, I just don't. I don't know. Seems like to me, if you needed a shower to cool off, you would go back to the hotel instead of get into the nasty old Cumberland River. But that's just me. Thanks for the call, man. Mike, let's call on the same topic. Let's go to Brooks in Nashville. Brooks, you're on with Brian on The Drive.
Hey, Brian, thanks for taking my call. I wanted to bring up maybe, the Apple Watch thing. There are enough apps out there, whether it's Find Friends or Life 360, that they can track the watch. So if something nefarious happened to Mr. Strang, then they would just leave his watch on him. Elsewise, they would just track the perpetrators down with that watch and an app.
Yeah, but except that they apparently, I heard early on in the investigation that they tried to ping him right, within hours. They were trying to ping him and find out where he was, and he wasn't responding. I mean, to you, I've had an Apple Watch. I don't wear one now, but I've had one, and it's linked to your phone. So if your phone goes down, then your Apple Watch doesn't have that link to the outside world, as I understand it. I don't know. I just think that, man, I tell you what, there have been some real questions raised now, and I wonder why it was they put out that there was no obvious signs of foul play, because, I don't know, you find yourself, 8 miles downriver without your pants or boots. That raises question marks in my mind. But thank you for the call. Greatly appreciate it. Other topics, Mike in Murfreesboro. Hello, Mike. You're on with Brian on The Drive. What's on your mind today, Mike?
Hi, Brian. I didn't get the call the other day when you were asking about people who are going to vote for Robert F. Kennedy. I'm a card-carrying libertarian, retired vet, Gen Xer. I'm just tired of the duopoly. Looking at his policies, he's not a hawk. He's more of an environmentalist. So I just, at this current moment, I can't vote for the geriatric person currently POTUS, and I can't vote for a person who can't seem to control anything coming out of his mouth. I can't do it. So I'm going to go third or fourth party until we break this duopoly between the right and the left.
Would you consider yourself, you say you're a libertarian, also conservative or not?
I'm socially liberal, physically conservative. I mean, you can marry a tree and be happy. I don't care.
I think that's what I did identify. I think, when I hear people say it, it's mostly that, so I'm fiscally conservative, but I'm more socially moderate or liberal. Yeah. Okay. Listen, thank you for the call. I appreciate it. He's going to be there. It looks like. Well, I say that he's got some problems getting on some of the ballots, as I understand it. Somebody said the other day, and I meant to run this down and double check it to see if there's anything new on it. He's only on the ballot technically in Utah. right now. Now, will he get on the ballot? Maybe. I don't know. All right, let's go to Malika. Malika in Nashville. Malika, you're on with Brian on the drive. What's on your mind, Malika?
Happy Easter, Brian. First of all, I love your show. I just want to say that there should be better cartoons for children these days. Just like you remember Mr. Rogers and Sesame Street more than I have a 3-year-old niece, and it's bugging me that all the cartoons are just so weird. They're not about real people. It seems it's all just like robots and animals, and I just want to hear your thoughts on that. Happy Easter, Brian. Thank you.
All right. I haven't thought about it, and I'm not up to speed on what's out there. I mean, I think like most parents, when you have a youngin', you end up watching some TV you might not otherwise watch as an adult. The thing I always liked about, say what you will about Sesame Street, I like the Muppets. I love the Muppets, and I thought, what was interesting about the Muppets is there's something going on there on two levels. There's something for the kids. There's a little wink to the adults from time to time. But I got to be honest with you, I haven't watched it at all of late. I don't know. Let's go to Amanda in Columbia. Wants to talk about the Riley strain thing. It really is a mystery, isn't it, Amanda? What do you think about this? Amanda. I don't know where Amanda went. Bill in Hendersonville, same topic. Hello, Bill. You're on with Brian on the drive. Hello, Bill. Well, I don't know what's going on there. You know what happens here? By the way, I got some phone lines open here for a moment or two. What happens sometimes is that people listen on the stream, and what you don't know is that when you're listening on the stream, you're about 30 seconds behind the actual program. So I call your name, but you don't hear it for about 30 seconds. So you've got to listen on the phone when that happens. So call back, and again, we have some phone lines open, 615-737-9986. Kay in Nashville. Kay, good afternoon. You're on with Brian on the drive.
Hey, Brian. Thanks for taking my call. Today is Vietnam Veterans Day. It was signed into law by President Trump in 2017, and so I just wanted to use your platform, if you don't mind, to tell any of the Vietnam veterans that are listening, welcome home.
Wow. Thank you so much, and I'm sorry that I overlooked that. I feel so sort of a kinship. The generation just before mine were drafted to go to Vietnam. And I knew people, I went to high school with people and who lost relatives in the Vietnam War. I would say to you that one thing that if you ever go to Washington, D.C., I hope that you will go by the Vietnam Veterans Memorial. It is the most awe-inspiring thing. It's just somber. It's one of the most somber and sort of sacred places I've ever been. And as you walk along and you see the names in the black marble, it really puts a face onto what war is all about, and all of the human lives that were given up in that endeavor. But thank you for the reminder, and I'm sorry that I missed it. Okay, let's see. Let's go with Brad in Shelbyville. Brad, you're on with Brian on the drive. What do you say, Brad?
Brian, my thought on the Riley strain thing is they didn't find his pants, his wallet, or anything. Why don't they look around the homeless camps? Maybe some homeless person picked it up. Maybe the guards fell out of the wallet when they picked it up.
Well, I think, a lot of people have suggested that may well be the case. And I remember when they were looking, there was another story that came out. Not a lot of attention was paid to it. I happened to see it. It was only a few paragraphs long, and it said that police were interested in talking to a particular person that they'd been seeking for some time. And this was a person who had a history, the police said, of preying on drunken visitors in downtown Nashville. Now, maybe it was connected, maybe it was not. But I thought it was interesting that at that particular time, all of a sudden, police wanted to talk to this particular individual. Don't know if anything more about it than that. But, we do have a homeless problem. And he was down in an area where homeless are known to hang out. And he was really drunk or incapacitated in some way. There's no doubt about that. So you may be on to something. How about Bill in Hendersonville? Bill, you're up next on the drive. What do you say?
Hey, Brian. So my theory on the Riley strain thing is if you put yourself in the context of the situation and you assume he fell in the water, the first thing is going to happen, his pants and boots are going to start filling up with water and weighing him down. And in my Boy Scout swimming merit badge class, the first thing they tell you is if you find yourself clothed in water, get rid of your shoes and your pants.
That is true.
And so my theory is he was just trying to get out of those because they were heavy. He was trying to save himself, and he's not going to care about his socks and his watch in that circumstance.
Yep,
That's my theory of what happened.
That's an interesting theory, and that's right. I took life saving and had a lifesaver's badge and could have been a lifesaver if I wanted to. I never did that, but I did go through the Red Cross program. One of the first things they teach you is take off your pants, and then you can use them actually as a flotation device. If you tie the legs together and then capture some air, you can actually use it to survive. But it seems to me that the easier thing to do would be just to climb out. Maybe it's not easy to climb out. I don't know. I haven't been to that location. But, yeah, okay, thanks for that. I appreciate it. Let's see. Let's go with Sam in Mount Juliet. Sam, you're on with Brian on the drive. What's on your mind today, Sam?
Brian, just about the crime in Nashville. I got two things I think that attributes to it. These young kids that are doing these crimes, there's no father figure. And then, of course, the judges. So I blame the no father figures and the judges for letting them slide through. Thank you, Brian.
Of course, thank you, and I think you're right there. I mean, when there are not male figures present in a child's life, and the moms are out there just trying to put food on the table and a roof over their heads and clothes on their backs, that means that they're working sometimes odd hours, and there's not a great deal of supervision. I think you've hit upon something that is a definite part of the problem, but I think there's another problem here, and I said I don't think that our legal system is handling these cases where violent crimes are committed the way I think most Nashvillians would like them to be handled. All right, very quickly, Matt in Tullahoma. Matt, you're up with Brian on the drive. What do you say, Matt?
Brian, I just wanted to take down a negative Friday afternoon of all of the conspiracy theories to give you your flowers and say I've been listening to you since you took over for Phil Valentine, and you've done an amazing job with that.
Well, that is so sweet of you to say, and thank you. You know what? They were big shoes to fill, and I could never be Phil Valentine. He was one in a million. I mean, he was really something special, wasn't he?
I'm sorry, not to interrupt. I've been listening since I was a kid. I'm probably one of your younger listeners, if I had to be honest with you. And man, when you hold people down and you send facts back to the fiction and all of the make 'em up stuff that goes on this show, thank you for your candor. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Matt. I appreciate it. High praise indeed. And on that upbeat note, we'll just call it a day. We'll do this again at 5:35. Right now it is 4:51 on Super Talk 99.7. Johnny Fleeman owns the Brass Lanterns and Legends restaurants in Middle Tennessee, all over the place. They've been in business. Are you ready for this? Some 35 years. That's an accomplishment, really. And he wants to thank you all for coming to his restaurants, and he wants me to tell you about some of the specials they have going on there. Listen, here's the thing about a Brass Lantern or a Legends restaurant. You're going to get authentic, made from scratch, delicious recipes at affordable prices. And that's what it's all about. Good food at a very reasonable price. For example, on Monday, chicken fingers with fries and coleslaw, $8.99. Tuesday, they do the prime rib thing. It's slow-cooked 8-ounce prime rib and a side for $18.99. Wednesday, a 6-ounce choice sirloin with a side for only $8.99. Thursday, they do hamburger steak dinner for $8.99. Sundays, they have 3 pasta dinners, each of them $9.99. Take your choice. So remember, for 35 years they've been there. They appreciate you being somebody who comes in and takes advantage of their restaurant, and they want to remind you to not forget about their daily lunch specials, which are also very reasonably priced. They start at $6.99. Also, don't forget to pick up some of those delicious Johnny Fleeman products at your local grocery. You're going to enjoy your next visit to a Brass Lantern or Legends restaurant nearest you.
What an absolute mess. Hey, it's Dan Mandison. Look at my closets. Unorganized to say the least. Even my window dormer is a train wreck. Stuff is everywhere. Now, luckily, California Closets is coming to my rescue. My personal design consultant, Vince, stopped by, measured, and is now showing me how to become more space efficient and organized on his 3D CAD system. It is amazing. And soon, my space is going to be organized, and yes, even Bandit approves. California Closets, a local company that can customize the storage in any room of your house. California Closets, what can they do for you? Find them online at californiaclosets.com and reach out for your free in-home consultation.
Grace Point Healthcare is the standard for affordable, comprehensive, and convenient medicine. How does that work? Well, as a direct pay provider, your healthcare is delivered without the red tape of insurers' guidelines. That's something, isn't it? Don't you hate it when they get in the middle of your doctors and your decision about your healthcare matters? Smart Care plans make it even more affordable. Starting at $69 a month, you get free office visits and basic labs for the entire year. Grace Point identifies and treats the roots of cause of the condition, not just the symptoms, using a comprehensive, functional approach. And by seeing you usually the same or the next day, you're treated at your convenience. Grace Point Healthcare, affordable, comprehensive, and convenient medicine delivered the old-fashioned way. They are located on Main Street in Franklin. Here's the number, 615-599-6868. That's 599-6868.
Five o'clock, I'm Mac Maury with your top story. 74 degrees in Nashville. Traffic complete weather forecast 5 minutes away. In Baltimore this afternoon, local construction workers and immigration advocates gathered inside the immigrant organization's CASA's Baltimore Workers Center to honor the 6 crew members who'd been repairing potholes on the Francis Scott Key Bridge at the time of the collapse. Dave Packer.
Several of those who died in the Baltimore bridge collapse have been identified as migrants from Honduras, Guatemala, and Mexico who are living in the Baltimore area. CASA's Executive Director, Gustavo Torres.
Here, we are reminded once again about the enormous contribution that the immigrants made to this country, how together, we U.S. border workers, we build this country.
2 workers' bodies have been recovered. 4 remain submerged under the bridge debris.
Back here in Tennessee right now, Channel 4 reports the United Cajun Navy has called off their search today for Sebastian Rogers after, quote, increasing security concerns. The UCN say they've received death threats online and in person. They say this is the first time they've dealt with threats during a search. It's a search the UCN says is not over yet. Rogers is 15-year-old, has autism. He's been missing since February 26th. Former President Trump, along with some of his co-defendants, are appealing the court decision that allowed Fulton County District Attorney to remain on the Georgia election interference case. Dave Packer reporting.
The motion from former President Trump and others to the Georgia Court of Appeals argues that Judge Scott McAfee erred as a matter of law by not requiring dismissal and DA Fonnie Willis's disqualification, arguing that even though Special Prosecutor Nathan Wade had resigned, the appearance of impropriety should in and of itself be grounds for Willis and her entire office's dismissal. The appeals court now has 45 days to decide whether or not to take up that appeal.
Trump's and co-defendants include Mike Roman, Rudy Giuliani, Mark Meadows, and Jeffrey Clark. Crime in Tennessee. 2 teenagers have been charged with criminal homicide after a 30-year-old man, Anthony Lee Buchanan Jr., was shot dead in downtown Nashville. 2 14-year-olds are charged in this shooting. It happened last night on University Court. The 2 teens fled to an apartment nearby. A large amount of cocaine, marijuana, along with 4 handguns were found inside of that apartment. The juveniles admitted to the shooting to officials. They said that Buchanan stole $300 from them. And that is the latest news. Traffic and weather on the way. I'm Mac Maury, WTN News.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Good afternoon, everybody. It is 5:06 on Super Talk 99.7. Brian Wilson in the chair for 2 more hours, rocking all the way up to 7 o'clock, and then we're going to hand it over to Mark Levin on this Good Friday. It's a travel day for some people. It is, of course, a very important day for practicing Christians around the world. It's sort of on that note that I want to move into this story, which falls into the old woke world category.
It's a woke world after all. It's a woke world after all. It's a woke world after all. It's a woke world.
That's the second song we play today for you that will stay in your head all day long.
Thanks.
No, I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. In the series, we call this woke world, and there's a lot of things going on that are pretty woke, full of wokeness. This one caught my eye, and I've got 2 stories on it. Okay, so let me see if we can make sense of this. It doesn't make any sense to me. A Tennessee music venue in Murfreesboro is hosting a Trans Day of Vengeance concert just days after the 1-year anniversary of the deadly shooting at the Covenant School, in which a transgender identifying woman killed 3 children and 3 adults, apparently in some peak of ideological fury. A flyer promoted by several bands says that the Graveyard Gallery in Murfreesboro is hosting the concert on, what I don't understand is why they don't call this what it is. They say on March 31st. Well, that's Easter. That's Easter Sunday. And using it to raise money for a group that provides gender reassignment surgery. The party comes with the Nashville schools in high alert. Several were on because of potential violence on the anniversary of the shooting. It says that the flyer says all proceeds will be donated to Point of Pride, and the bands include, I can't say the name of some of these bands. Dumpster P.
Gross.
Back Alley Hookers, Boys Clothes, Spinning Lodge, and Oitakus, I think it's, I don't know. It says the event is provided by Boro Fondo, a music art and bike fest that is advertising the show and is asking attendees to bring new or used chest binders to donate to Point of Pride. Point of Pride mails gender-affirming garments to trans and gender-diverse people who cannot otherwise afford or access them, says the poster. Shipping is free. Point of Pride provides funding towards surgery, hormone replacement therapy, and permanent hair removal services. Second story, that was, by the way, that's in the Daily Wire here. And what we have looked up is this Graveyard Gallery is a place that is sort of an independent performance space where I guess you can rent it out. That's the way it looks to me. Music venue in Tennessee, according to townhall.com, is hosting a Trans Day of Vengeance concert following the 1-year anniversary of the Covenant School shootings. Hosting the concert on Easter Sunday. Proceeds will go to groups that reportedly provide gender-affirming care. That's the same sort of thing. I just bad taste. First of all, the timing. Second of all, Easter Sunday, really? This is the thing that you think you should be doing. I just bring it to your attention. It's part of our woke world. The Kentucky state legislature has a GOP supermajority, as we do here in Tennessee. And in Kentucky, Senate Republican supermajority failed to pass a ban on university DEI programs. That happened late Thursday night. The Senate adjourned just prior to midnight without passing the bill to defund DEI offices, staff, and training dedicated to implementing and promoting the discriminatory concepts at institutions of higher learning in Kentucky. This, according to the Washington Examiner. According to legislative text, Kentucky legislators were up against a veto recess, meaning Governor Andy Beshear, who supports DEI as a Democrat, can now reject anything passed in the remaining days of the legislative session, without state lawmakers having enough time to override his veto. This story is about everybody thinks, well, what we need to have in DEI, I mean, we need wage equity. Wage equity means that, we think that everybody ought to make a certain wage, which, we have minimum wage laws, but they want it much more than the minimum wage laws in many places. In California, in an effort to bring people into wage equity, they raised the minimum wage to $20 an hour. Listen to what happened. It didn't work out so well for a lot of people. If they thought you were going to help lift people up, not so much. And this was completely predictable. Michael Ojeda delivered food for Pizza Hut in Ontario, California, using the income he received to support his family. In December, the 29-year-old received a letter from the pizza franchise informing him that his employment was being terminated in February. It shook him. Pizza Hut was my career for nearly a decade. With little to no notice, it was taken away. Ojeda appears to be just one of the thousands of casualties of a new California law that will raise the minimum wage for fast food workers to $20 an hour on April 1 for all restaurant chains that have at least 60 locations. Now, making $20 instead of $15 sounds like a win, but economics show there's no such thing as a free lunch, and California lawmakers just proved it. When the minimum wage goes up, this is just simple economics, folks. It's just so easy to understand. When the minimum wage goes up, the money to pay workers must come from somewhere, right? Typically, it comes from three places. They can raise the price of the product or the good that they provide. They can reduce the labor cost by firing a few workers, or they give the workers fewer hours. Reduced benefits sometimes comes along with that. And, of course, the one way they can do it, and they rarely do it, is lower profits and capital expenditures. I mean, you've got to keep a company has got to make money or they don't stay in business. And so if you're faced with having to pay more exorbitant rates and you know that if you raise the prices, you're going to lose market share, then, what do? You try to cut your wage of your labor cost as much as you possibly can, and that's what's happening. Restaurants, franchises such as Chipotle, Jack in the Box, McDonald's already announced they're going to jack up their prices to cover increased labor costs, which are expected to increase by roughly $250,000 per location for many of these restaurants. I mean, I read something where in April, it's like a McDonald's hamburger is going to cost you like $15. It doesn't ever work out that way. And the thing about it is it was so foreseeable. And look, I do believe that people put in a hard day work ought to make ought to make a living. But a lot of these jobs are high school kids. A lot of these people are people entering the business world. This is their first job. I know that my daughter went to work for a company in a restaurant when she was in high school, and I was quite surprised at how much money she was making. She made a good salary. Was it $20 an hour? No, but it was up there. It was close. So, when you raise the minimum wage, something has to give, and what most often gives is that they have to cut the cost of their labor by reducing the size of their labor force or reducing the hours. And one way or the other, the end result is that, people end up losing their jobs. And so now apparently the state of California state legislature is doing everything they can to sort of try to undo the damage that was predictable and has been done and carve out some exceptions for fast food restaurants that just can't afford to pay $20 an hour to all of their employees. I guess in California, if you want to pay, $15 for a Big Mac, seems a little high to me. I mean, I wouldn't do it. I just wouldn't do it. So your prices go up, your market share goes down. It's just, it's very simple. And again, so absolutely predictive. And then finally on our Woke World segment, this story, mainstream media outlets, including CNN and NBC News, began to refer to Christians as Easter worshipers. The reference came in response to a tragic accident in South Africa where 45 people in a bus plunged off a cliff and were killed, sadly, in the nation's Limpopo province on Thursday. The victims were headed to an Easter conference before the tragic accident. There was only one survivor. However, social media users slammed the network for using the term Easter worshipers instead of calling them what they are, which is Christians. Bus carrying Easter worshipers falls off cliff, killing 45 people in South Africa. Red Eagle Politics responded to the headlines on X, writing, "They're doing it again. We are Christians, not Easter worshipers. We don't worship Easter. We worship Christ." Well, the term was previously used in 2019 when Islamic extremists murdered dozens of Christians during Easter celebrations in Sri Lanka. Former President Barack Obama also used the term Easter worshipers in response to the attack. The attack on tourists and Easter worshipers in Sri Lanka was an attack on humanity, Obama said. The term was also used by other media outlets and elected officials, including Hillary Clinton. Why is there a reluctance to call folks who believe in Christ Christians? I don't understand why that happens. It is 18 minutes now past the hour of 5 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
A local Baltimore marina and cafe becoming a key spot for first responders after that bridge collapse, a fatal fire here in Tennessee, and taking a look at the Pope's health during this busy Easter weekend. 5:30 Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Spanning the globe to bring you the constant variety of sport, the thrill of victory, and the agony of defeat.
That's right. It's time for Mac Maury's wide, wild world of sports. And now here, without further ado, the man you know and you've come to revere, the man, the myth, the legend, the one, the only, Mac Maury, ladies and gentlemen.
And it's a Friday.
That's right. It's a Friday.
Did you get all choked up there,
Yeah,
Mac?
I've been dealing with some gunk.
Wow.
Been dealing with some gunk, but it's okay.
Yeah, it's that time of year.
It is,
know?
man.
Yes, it is.
It is.
Gunk will get you, that's for sure.
The drainage has been nonstop, but that's okay because.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah,
you could have just left it there. But no.
But the draining won't stop because the Vols will be draining threes tonight against the Creighton Blue Jays. Woo!
Who knew that was going to happen?
We got some basketball action tonight. Sweet 16. That's right. That's right,
Yeah.
Volunteers, Blue Jays. It's going to be a great game tonight. And doesn't that get you fired up? Woo!
I don't know. Is that what it's supposed to do?
That's what it does for me. Maybe that's just...
Makes me want to look for my my jug and start...
You know, I have a way to end all this. You ready? Thank you.
All
righty.
You know, just before you get into,
please.
In the bluegrass world, that is the one song. It's sort of like, going to a guitar store and playing Stairway to Heaven. You're not supposed to do it.
Yeah.
This is in bluegrass circles. That's the one song.
Oh, really?
That you really should never request.
Yeah. It's like going to a rock show and asking them and yelling out Freebird.
Freebird, yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Right. Just saying. Okay,
Well-
but go ahead. I didn't mean to divert you into that.
Just ruining my thunder there. But that's okay. I'm still excited. You can't bring down this hype train. This is a big game here for the Tennessee Vols, taking on Creighton, Sweet 16. This is a 3-seed Creighton team taking on a 2-seed Volunteers team. So these two teams are tightly contested. They have not played each other this season. It would really just be, out of conference tournament stuff early on in the season if they were to ever see each other in a regular season game. Really, it's the tournament when these two teams will face, and that's going to happen here. Two legendary coaches. You've got Greg McDermott versus the Vols and Rick Barnes. These are two guys who have, made runs. They've won a lot of games. They've coached NBA players and pro talent for decades on decades, and they'll meet here tonight. So let's take a look at the Blue Jays offense. Man, they have some really, really fun players. One of which that I think is going to be one that I'm watching most is Baylor Shireman, 6'6", fourth-year senior now. He's guard, small forward, and there's not really anything that he is amazing at, but he is really good at everything, including defense. And he's good with the ball, without the ball. He makes crafty cuts off the back door. He'll lull defender to sleep when he's sitting in the baseline far side. And then, there's 6 seconds left in the shot clock, and all of a sudden he's cutting for a wide open layup. He shoots the three from around 40% from the arc on his career.
Wow.
He'll be going to the NBA. He's a crafty, smart player. And he's their leading scorer, and he's their leading rebounder. And again, he's 6'6". This is a team that has a 7'1" center. He is their leading rebounder. That's when I talk about crafty, smart, right place, right time. And that 7'1" guy will go straight to him. He's the next guy really on this power trio that they have. Ryan Kalkbrenner, 7'1", and he's not this, gonna just lower my shoulder and power through you. He's got great footwork, great fundamentals, really good touch around the basket, and a great defender, 3 blocks a game for Kalkbrenner. The defense that they play is, so the pick and roll. Guy sets the screen, and then he rolls to the basket while the ball handler kind of decides if he's going to pass, maybe shoot it. He could step back for a shot. It's a very common basketball play, right? Well, the defensive coverage against pick and roll for Creighton is they do what's called drop coverage. So Ryan Kalkbrenner, the center, his defender will go screen for, let's say, Zakai Ziegler, the Volunteers point guard. And Ryan Kalkbrenner will drop back into the paint, way away from that play. And the screener, the guy who's getting screened, the defender who's guarding Zakai Ziegler, will try and go over that screen, stay really close on Zakai Ziegler's hip, forcing really a mid-range jump shot. They force the most mid-range twos pretty much in all NCAA basketball. They don't allow a lot of three-point attempts. They don't allow a lot of layups. They're going to make you take floaters, make you take 12-foot jump shots. Well, what do the Vols do really well at? They got a guy who's a floater master. Rick Barnes doesn't like the floater. He's very outspoken against the floater, and that's just, kind of leaving that shot with your pointer finger and middle ring finger off your fingertips, just kind of floating it up there. It's exactly what it sounds like from 5 to 10 feet away from the basket. So Kylie Ziegler's amazing at that. And who's a great mid-range jump shooter? It's Dalton Connect. So he's really good with a defender at his hip and a guy ahead of him, kind of deciding, being in that decision-maker spot. So I think this could bode really well for Tennessee if they can make jump shots early, get them out of that drop coverage, and then you can start raining threes. You can pick and pop. You can spread out the defense. You can move quickly off of screens, and Tennessee loves to shoot that three ball too. So make those mid-rangers, make those twos early to then get the threes. I hope I explained that at a fairly elementary way.
No,
I don't know.
That's great.
Okay.
All right, so it's going to be, you think, a really good game and a crucial game.
That's what it sounds like. Yeah,
this is going to be a really, really good game. Yes, and then they've got another guy here. I got to find his name. It's their point guard, who's a fantastic point guard as well. He's the other part of this big three. Trey Alexander. He really runs the show. He's a junior, and he's going to be someone to watch as well. Looking at the Vols here again. Yeah. Get those mid-range twos, find some threes later on after the pick and pop kind of stuff. But something to watch tonight, Santiago Vescovi, someone that I've talked about. He's a fifth-year senior from Uruguay. One of the two players only that's still there after when I was still at the school. I reported on Santiago, interviewed him multiple times. Really good, nice guy. You hear him talk now from 5 years ago. The Uruguay accent, he's got a little bit of a southern twang now, 5 years down in Knoxville. He's adapted some y'all, and it's pretty good. It's pretty funny. He's got the flu right now, so he's been liquid IVs all day. He's not feeling well, but he is passionate and determined. I imagine he will be good to go. We have not heard anything otherwise, but that is something to monitor. He's a point guard, and he's had his worst shooting season of the year, but somehow we still score more when he's on the court. We turn over the ball less when he's on the court. Our defense is better when he's on the court. He leads to winning basketball even when he's not making his shots like he hasn't this season. So be monitoring Vescovi's game. And, really, this comes down to it's going to be a chess match, which is what I like. These are going to be two basketball coaches who know a lot about each other and a lot about each team, and it's going to come down to it. 5 minutes left. What are you going?
Okay, so before we run out of time, because we haven't done it, and I don't even need to know where I'm at because I know where I'm at. Where are we on the brackets? We had our little bracket game going, and I started off on top and then immediately went right to the bottom. But who's in the lead?
You're not at the bottom anymore, apparently.
Oh, really?
I don't believe so. Let me go to very quickly. Here we go. Super Talk. So I am in fifth place. Matt Murphy's in second. Pamela Furr in first, but she took a big hit with North Carolina losing last night. She had them as their champion. Murphy's got the Vols as his champion. So let's go. I'm going to root for Murphy over my bracket because I don't even have the Vols winning. So Murphy's in second. Weber, you're there in third place. I'm there tied for fourth, and Brian, you're down there just a couple spots later. But we
just a couple.
I warned you.
You did.
I did this under duress.
The amount of points maximum left, Murphy or Weber. Weber has the highest maximum points left, 1,500. Weber.
That's right.
I'm sitting right behind you at 1,490, but Weber with the most points, he's got UConn winning his bracket. Now I got to see, who do you, just out of curiosity before we get out of here. Wow, Weber, you traitor. He's got Creighton tonight. Oh, gosh.
I didn't even remember.
He's got Creighton picked against my Vols.
Yep.
Sorry.
Well, all right, we'll leave it there. Time for the news on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.531, I'm Mac Morey with your top story. 73 degrees, sunny on Music Row. Latest traffic report and a weather forecast in 5 minutes. A local Baltimore marina and cafe becomes a gathering place for first responders after the Key Bridge collapse. Dave Packer.
It was just 10 days before the Baltimore Bridge collapse that Alex Del Sordo bought the Anchor Bay East Marina and its restaurant. Now it's become the place where responders come to refuel and recharge.
We determined that we got to keep the fuel dock open 24/7, and that is a very hard thing to do. We wanted to keep the restaurant open as long as we possibly could. And more importantly, we wanted to give the first responders a home, a place to be.
Del Sordo giving responders a 50% discount on food, and locals are coming in to pay the rest of their tab.
Here in Tennessee, a fatal fire. An elderly woman was killed. 3 others were able to escape after a Williamson County house fire. It happened this morning. It was at a home on Albany Drive. The 3 others escaped are related to the woman. Firefighters and family members attempted to enter the home during the blaze. Those flames ended up being too dangerous. And some new concerns for the Pope's health after he skipped Good Friday's Way of the Cross procession. Ines de la Catera.
Pope Francis did preside over a very somber 2-hour service at St. Peter's Basilica on Friday afternoon, but the Vatican press office announced the Pope did not attend the evening's procession so as to, quote, protect his health. The Pope also skipped the Palm Sunday homily, but on Wednesday and Thursday, the 87-year-old appeared to be doing well. The Easter holiday period marks the busiest period of the church calendar, and the Pope is still expected to participate in events on Saturday and Sunday.
And that is the latest news. Weather, traffic next. I'm Mac Morey, WTN News.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
We're just moments away from Phone Your Farb Friday Round 2, 615-737-9986. Get ready. We'll be going to that in just a moment. In the meantime, let me talk to you about the folks over at Eurofix. A lot of diagnoses out there and a pill for everything, but not all diagnoses are accurate and not all pills are good for you. When you get a diagnosis for European auto repair, you might want to get a second opinion before you make a major decision. And Eurofix is the home for second opinions. Before you spend hundreds or even thousands of dollars on European vehicle repair from a diagnosis that you got somewhere, well, go to Eurofix. It can not only save your vehicle's life, could save you a lot of stress and a lot of money. At Eurofix, you'll get a free 15-minute no-wrench inspection with an estimate at every visit. No high-pressure sales tactics. At Eurofix, you get a 3-year nationwide warranty and a free loaner car with every repair appointment. At Eurofix, you never pay dealer prices. Here, where can you go? Where are the Eurofix branches? Here we go. The Franklin, 100 Oaks, Murfreesboro, Belmead, and their newest location, Mount Juliet. Call 844-EUROFIX or visit myEurofix.com and tell them your friend and radio buddy Brian Wilson sent you. 38 minutes now past the hour of 5 o'clock. And guess what? Yes, it's time for round number 2 of a big fan favorite here on the program. It's time for the second edition of Phone Your Farb Friday. Yeah, what's on your mind? 615-737-9986. I mean, maybe you got a bee in your bonnet. Maybe you got a burr in your saddle. Maybe you have a bug in a place where I hope you really never, ever have a bug. Just get on our 100,000-watt soapbox and express yourself. I mean, we will take anything you got to say within reason because it is a family show. Now, we had a great round in the first go. At 435, I think it was one of the high marks of the week. I think it was really good. So, it's not that it's a competition, and please no wagering, but we want to see how the 5 o'clock audience does. So a lot of phone lines open right now, 615-737-9986. What's on your mind? Your chance to sound off right here, any topic within boundaries on Super Talk 99.7. We'll start with Don in Millersville. Don, hello. You're on with Brian on the drive. Don, what's on your mind today?
Hey, Brian. How you doing?
Doing well.
Big fan, first-time caller.
Well, thank you.
I don't mean to backtrack, but the Riley Strain case that you were talking about a little while ago.
Right.
It seems to me I read an article this last week somewhere that was saying the family had ordered a private autopsy and they had done that. And you were talking about one of your callers was talking about taking off your pants and your boots in the river to try to swim better,
right.
Basically. If I'm not mistaken, in this article that I read, it said that in the second autopsy, preliminary findings found that there was no water in his lungs. So
I believe you're correct on that. Yes. Mm-hmm. So there's some things here that just aren't adding up. And again, for people who are listening who don't know the story, this Riley Strain young man comes down from University of Missouri with a bunch of guys. He goes out drinking. He's down on Lower Broad. He gets bumped out of a bar for behavior issues, and then we see him around town on various cameras, but then he just disappears. A few days later, they found his ATM card on the bank down near the river, near the Cumberland River, and then 14 days later, they find him downstream. They pulled his body out of the river. Very sad, of course, for the family. But what is the new development here is that we are now learning that when they pulled him from the river, he wasn't wearing his pants and he wasn't wearing his boots. He still had his socks on. So we don't know where the wallet went. We don't know where the pants went. We don't know where the boots are. He was still wearing an Apple Watch. And again, there is a second autopsy being done by the family, who feels like they just need more answers, and I can understand that. But it's a mystery as to what happened here, and why this person vanished, and why he was found in the water without his pants. That's a strange one. But again, I think you're right. I have read that he didn't have water in his lungs, and again, the initial autopsy was no obvious signs of foul play, but there certainly are a lot of question marks about this one, and I think we're going to be talking about it for quite a bit longer. Don, thank you for the call. Again, we have some open phone lines now at 615-737-9986. What's on your mind today? Get it off your chest. Let's go to Ricky in Watertown. Hello, Ricky. You're on with Brian on the drive. What's on your mind today, Ricky?
I'd like to have a shout out to a gentleman that called you last Wednesday when you asked people about Mr. Kennedy. And it kind of tickled me. He said, you got to like him because all the Democrats hate him. And his nickname is Weezy. And you can't help but like him. My sister said to let him know she received her 50-year plaque and service award for working for the state of Tennessee.
Well, congratulations. That's an accomplishment.
I don't know how she done it. That's the only job she's ever had. She hired in when she got out of high school and been there and still is to this day.
Well, congratulations on a big career. Ricky, thank you for the call. Phone line's open. Listen, folks, get busy. The 5 o'clock hour is beginning to let me down now, and I know you can do better. 615-737-9986. First-time callers, welcome. Let's go to Adam in Nashville. Adam, hello. You're on with Brian on the drive. What's on your mind, Adam?
Brian, I am a retard cop. Murphy's boy, but I'm not. Okay.
I'm having a hard time hearing you. I'm sorry. Can you do something about that?
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Brian. I've got to go. I'm so sorry.
Okay. Well, you called us. All right. Thank you very much for that. Let's see. Are we ready to go to Daniel? Hello, Daniel. Oh, hold on, Daniel. We got some phone calls stacked up here. Hold on. Waiting on the calls. Here we go. Daniel in Nashville, you're on with Brian on the drive. What's up, Daniel?
Yes, I have reached out to legislators, and I've done everything I know to do, and now I'm going to reach out to you. The marijuana, I'm not a user myself, but we have a business, and in this day and age, it is driving me insane that an employee of mine can walk down the road, spend money, pay taxes on something, fail a drug test, and then I have to fire them. And I wish we'd pick a lane.
So why do you have to fire him? I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time following the process here.
So we're part of Drug Free Tennessee, and
Okay.
as such, we're subject to random drug screenings. They usually come up quarterly, and some guy goes and buys something at one of these smoke shops, and now all of a sudden it's a problem. And it used to be harder to get this stuff, and I don't know. I just wish it was either legal or illegal. And
Is part of this the Delta 9 stuff that's available just about everywhere? Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, sir. That's
Yeah.
what I'm talking about. It's all this loophole stuff, and whether or not marijuana should or shouldn't be legal, I don't want to get into that. But I wish we could push legislators to either make it legal and tax it, and then I don't have to worry about my employees anymore, or make it illegal and shut all these shops down.
Yeah, listen, I know the state legislature is wrestling with this. I came across a couple of other stories yesterday on it, and I held them back, and now I don't have them at my fingertips. But I can tell you that there is some talk about does something need to be done about the Delta 9 and the Delta 8 and 10 or whatever they are, gummies, which are legal in the state of Tennessee, even though weed is not. There is still THC in them. And I guess they show up in the drug test, which is the problem. I do hear from people, and I'm gonna tell you something that's gonna blow your mind, because you know that I am so anti-marijuana. But last year, when I was in so much pain because I had just an unbelievably horrible case of shingles, and you couldn't get the medicine that would relieve the pain, and I wasn't sleeping. I couldn't sleep at all. I went days without sleep. I took a Delta 9 gummy. I'd never done that before in my life. Somebody said it'll take the edge off and you'll go to sleep. And it was a godsend. Now, I haven't taken one since, but there for a while it was so bad that was the only thing that I could find that would bring relief. And so again, it's legal in the state of Tennessee. I didn't violate any laws. I may have violated some of my own principles by agreeing to do it, but I got to tell you, it helped me. And so I've sort of have taken a position on this where I go, I know there are people who are in pain, and I know that pain management is a real problem. They don't like to give you the drugs that will actually solve the problem anymore. So, what's a person to do? Is this an option? I don't know. I'm with you. Pick a lane. Let's decide what it is, and then let's go forward in that lane. But I don't see legalization of marijuana happening in the state of Tennessee anytime soon. That they are maybe going to address the gummies, I think, in this legislative session. It'll be interesting to see how that goes. Thank you for the call. Let's go to Dan in Nashville. Dan, you're on with Brian on the drive. What do you say?
Yeah, how you doing?
I'm good.
I just have a weird story because I was only casually following the Riley Strain case, And this morning, when I was dead asleep, I had a dream that I remembered, and I saw his. I didn't know any of the new information, but I saw his bank card in the trash along the Cumberland, and I was kind of confused as to why I was dreaming about it. And all I remember was Riley Strain was murdered, and then I went back to sleep, and that was the essence of my dream, and I have no idea why. And then today, you guys are talking about no water in his lungs and things like that. So it made me think, gosh, maybe it's true. I don't know.
What? I don't know. Do your dreams often are they sometimes predictions of the future?
I have had a few, but generally I don't remember them that much. So it's just that I sort of half woke up, so I remembered it. But
all right. Well, thank you for that. Appreciate the call. Let's see. I think Joe in Mount Juliet, also same topic. What's up? What's up, Joe?
Hey, nice to talk to you. The debit card, did they ever take maybe possibly fingerprints off to whoever found it, or something like that?
I don't know. I would only assume
anybody could have touched it, right? So
well, I think it was found by some people, some TikTokers who were out there looking around because they wanted to help out. They found it. The police had looked through that area and had missed it. So that's sort of interesting. I would hope that they didn't pick it up, or if they did, from around the edges, so that they didn't perhaps take any of the fingerprints off of it. But one would assume that once the police got it, it was processed in a proper way. So I'm sure there are some work has been done from that standpoint. Thank you for the call. Appreciate it. Let's go. Let's end up with Terry in Antioch. Terry, you're on with Brian on the drive. Oh, Terry went away. Well, on that sad note, we'll just have to wrap it. I have to say, so the 4 o'clock was so easy.
It was a bit of a struggle today, I think, in this
5
hour,
o'clock,
wasn't it?
the 5 o'clock people, they're sort of, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think I have to give it to the 4 o'clock people.
I agree.
I decided it's a unanimous decision.
Yes.
The 4 o'clock was better. 50 minutes now past the hour of 5 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. If you want an engagement ring that she will be proud to wear, there's only one place to go, Genesis Diamonds. They have cornered the market on all of the world-class designers, the New York and Los Angeles-based designers who are the best of the best. Every store wants them, but only a few stores make the cut. Well, Genesis made the cut and has all the luxury brands and all the styles that women are really asking for. Don't settle. Get her the ring of her dreams at Genesis, and don't think you have to pay a lot of money. Genesis has complete, ready-to-wear designer rings as low as $1,900. And, of course, no jeweler can beat the price of Genesis diamonds. Whether you want a natural diamond or a lab-grown diamond, Genesis has the guaranteed best prices and the highest quality. And only Genesis gives you a 120% diamond upgrade guarantee, plus free service for life. All this with no commission salespeople and no pressure. Get the deal you deserve on your diamond, Genesis Diamonds, and now with an expanded selection of luxury pre-owned Rolex watches, all the hard models that they're difficult to find, they've got them. Check them out at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills, and Cool Springs.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com. Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com. Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
Six o'clock, I'm Mac Morey with your top story. 71 degrees, sunny in Nashville, and a beautiful weekend ahead. Traffic, weekend weather forecast 5 minutes away. In Baltimore this afternoon, local construction workers and immigration advocates gathered inside the immigrant organization CASA's Baltimore Workers Center to honor the 6 crew members who'd been repairing potholes on the Francis Scott Key Bridge at the time of the collapse. Here's Dave Packer.
Several of those who died in the Baltimore bridge collapse have been identified as migrants from Honduras, Guatemala, and Mexico who are living in the Baltimore area. CASA's executive director, Gustavo Torres.
Here, we are reminded once again about the enormous contribution that the immigrants made to this country, how together we U.S. border workers, we build this country.
2 workers' bodies have been recovered. 4 remain submerged under the bridge debris.
Back here in Tennessee with a serious and terrible, troubling crime story. An East Nashville couple was arrested last night after being charged with the rape of a child. Officials say that 38-year-old Angel Slattery and her husband, 24-year-old Michael Slattery, are alleged to have raped a child repeatedly over the course of 5 years. The victim was 7 years old when this alleged abuse began. The victim told police that the couple who had custody of him would sexually assault him together and separately. The couple was arrested on Dickerson Pike. And France looking to boost security ahead of the Olympics by asking other countries for a bit of help. In Estela Catera.
France asking about 45 foreign countries to contribute several thousand extra military, police, and civilian personnel to help with security at the upcoming Paris Summer Olympics. Millions are expected to attend the event. In recent days, the threat of terror attacks has prompted the French government to raise its security alert to its highest level.
Drugs in Tennessee. Around 500 pounds of marijuana were found during a drug stop. This was in Haywood County on Wednesday night. Officials stopped this Mercedes Sprinter van. They noticed an inconsistency in the wall between the front and the rear. They used an X-ray, and, well, their instincts were right. They dismantled that wall, and they found a quarter ton, or 491 pounds of marijuana and THC edibles inside of those walls. The man taken into custody, now awaiting bond. And that is the latest news. Traffic and weather on the way. I'm Mac Morey, WTN News.
Hey, it's Dan Mandison. I love My Patriot Supply. It's emergency food so you can care for your family no matter what. And today, we're fixing creamy chicken flavored rice. And the thing I love about My Patriot Supply, it's easy. You just get the water, turn on the heat, and in minutes, we are ready to go. Now, this food lasts for 25 years in special packaging, and yes, it does taste great. And in just minutes, it's ready to eat. Patriots don't rely on the government to take care of their family in emergencies. It's up to you. Order right now and get $200 off a 3-month food kit. It's important to go to preparewithmandis.com to get that great discount. That's preparewithmandis.com to get that great discount. Preparewithmandis.com. $200 off a 3-month food kit.
Good evening, everyone. It is 6 minutes now past the hour of 6 o'clock. So we are headed into the evening hours. This is the fourth and final hour and the last hour of this week for the drive. On this Friday, March 29th, we hit a well above 70 degrees today.
Yeah, it's still 73.
I've got 70 here in bucolic Watertown. And you know what? I think I heard them say, I think I heard Lisa Spencer say, Sunday, 80.
Yeah, we're going to have some really warm stuff coming up.
Yeah, I mean, tomorrow is going to be the day with the most sunshine. I think. I haven't looked at it since the last couple of days. Well, let's just do that now.
I think that's still right.
I think that's still right. Let's see. And there we go. Let's see. Sunshine tomorrow and a high of 74. And then Sunday, it is cloudy, but a high of 76. She says it could go all the way up to 80. Cloud cover tends to, trap the heat, so maybe that's true. And then we don't see any rain until next Tuesday, but temperatures will stay in the 70s through next Tuesday, and then we take a dip into the 50s and 60s again before it starts heading, back up. So, enjoy this lovely Easter weekend. It's going to be really nice. You go out there, you're going to have good weather for your Easter egg hunts.
Yep.
For family outings, cook out in the backyard, maybe first one of the year.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm going to fire the grill up.
Yep. I think I'm going to be in the pool this weekend at some point.
Well, didn't have to rub it in, but okay.
Yep. Well, it's just good to be me. That's the way I look at it. It's good to be me. We have some mysteries here that the thing that I think pulls a lot of people into a story is when there's something that doesn't make sense. When you've got something going on and you can't put all of it, you look at it and you say, this doesn't add up for me. And then everybody starts to, play amateur sleuth. But in this particular case, the case of Riley Strain is one that has gotten interesting again. Now, if you had told me that we'd still be talking about Riley Strain this week, I would say, now that story's over. Because when they if you don't know the story, I got to give the background. Riley Strain, he's a college student from Missouri. He's down here with a bunch of his buddies. He ends up getting bounced out of Luke Bryan's bar, and then he tries to walk. We don't know where he's going, but he didn't seem to be in the best shape. It would appear, and I say appear because we don't know for sure, that he was intoxicated. There's a video camera that captured him, a security camera that captured him falling in a parking lot and either striking his shoulder or his head. He gets up, he walks. He then later has an interaction with a police officer. It was just sort of like, hey, how you doing? And it was, the officer was working some other crime at the time, and they just said hello. And then we have him again walking in other places, and apparently again, from what we've been told, there are even videos that we have not seen of which he was still sort of, walking as if he was inebriated or something was wrong. And then he disappeared. They started pinging his phone about midnight, 1 o'clock. They couldn't find him. A few days later, we're down along the river, the Cumberland River. They found his ATM card on the bank among some weeds. But they hadn't found him. And then 14 days later, he's found 8 miles downriver. But what we are now learning, and the new development, and it makes it sort of interesting, is he apparently, we are told, did not have his pants on. And he didn't have his boots on. He had his socks on, but not his boots and not his pants. Why is that interesting? Well, we have in the state of Tennessee a remarkable facility down at the University of Tennessee. It's called the Body Farm, and Dr. Bill Bass there is one of the world's renowned experts on something called body decomposition. And this is important for police departments when they find a body and and it's decomposed. You need to know, well, when did the person die? What does the state of the body tell you about the crime? The first autopsy, we were told that there were no signs of foul play. But the family has now ordered a second autopsy, and we understand that one of the things that we have learned is apparently no water in his lungs, which suggested he did not drown. So here's what Bill Bass said. It's unusual. Normally, if you fall in the river, it's very difficult to get your pants off. I asked him about the missing pants and boots. Dr. Bass said it's possible but unlikely that they came off in the river current. I agree. I don't understand. Why would your boots come off? Why would your pants come off? Why would your socks stay on? He said the debris could have snagged the clothing or another theory, but I would say, according to Bass, that somebody took them off. If you do research on this, it'd be very difficult because you've got to kill a person to do it, but it's difficult to get your pants off. It's difficult to know when you're alive, even when you're alive, to get your pants off when you're in the water. The stepdad, in this case, Riley's stepdad, said he didn't want to comment now about the second autopsy since the family is focused on Riley's funeral, which is happening today. And said, but he did say they would have some big things to share next week. Still not yet available, toxicology reports from the autopsy. And those take several weeks to process and return. What was going on? Did he have too much alcohol in his system? Were there other things in his system? Does the toxicology tell you anything about his state at the time that he died? So it's a real mystery. And again, the pants, that's the thing. We find his ATM card, but not his wallet. We find the body, no pants, no boots, but the socks are still on. He's still wearing his Apple Watch, by the way. I don't think that his phone has ever been recovered. So there's some real questions here. And again, I think this investigation still open, and I think that there are many more answers that need to be found. We'll continue to watch this for you. Here's a story that, again, a lot of people have theories about this thing, that's the crash of that ship into the bridge in Baltimore. I have been of the opinion that some of the speculation has been just that, pretty wild speculation about the things that have happened. And look, I'm no expert, but the thing I know is that most of the people who are commenting out there, they aren't experts either. But I do know this. I know that something that I know from looking at the tape is that the tape is running at much higher speed, and this event took much longer time to actually play out in real time. They speed up the tape. I don't know why they did, but they do, to show you as much as they can in a short period of time, I suppose is the reason. But, this whole thing about the power failures didn't happen as quickly as what you see on the videotape that you've likely watched over and over and over. This story from the Wall Street Journal. The frantic calls to halt Baltimore bridge traffic before the ship crash. The crew of the Dolly had minutes to alert officials on shore about the loss of power before slamming into the Key Bridge. I lost all steering, the pilot said on early Tuesday morning call to dispatchers at the Association of Maryland Pilots. What is a pilot? In every harbor, when you go into the Chesapeake Bay, when you go into the inner harbor, these companies, in order to make sure that they don't have accidents, hire a local pilot, and the pilot comes on board, climbs aboard, and helps the captain and the crew navigate through the very narrow straits of a harbor. And so there's always a pilot on board. This pilot was going outbound, and the pilot, not the captain, the pilot, somebody who was hired by the ship company on board, gave a call to the Association of Maryland Pilots, which is a trade group, according to communications reviewed by the Wall Street Journal. Pilots are specialized mariners trained to navigate in local waterways. But the cargo ship loaded with 4,700 containers was drifting and quickly heading off course. And he said, tell them to clear all the traffic on the bridge. With little time to spare, the dispatcher called it in. There's a ship heading toward the Key Bridge. The association's dispatcher told the State Transportation Authority, he lost steering. We need to stop all traffic on the Key Bridge. Okay, got it, an official in the state's Key Bridge office replied. Those tales have not been previously reported, provide more context about how personnel on the ship alerted authorities that the Dolly had lost power. The warnings came just minutes before the Dali plowed into the Key Bridge, sending it into the Patasco River, endangering 6 construction workers who were on it. National Transportation Safety Board reviewing ship data, conducting interviews with crews to help understand what led to the accident and why the ship lost power roughly an hour into a week-long trip to Colombo, Sri Lanka. Crucially, he made the warning call and they closed the bridge to traffic, saving many lives. That is true. There were 21 crew members and 2 pilots. The Dali departed a terminal at probably one for the Inner Harbor, one for the Chesapeake Bay, is my guess. A Dali departed a terminal at the port of Baltimore at 12:39. 2 tugboats assisted the Dali on the way out of the dock, but they set it free when the ship was up to speed at roughly 9 miles an hour. By the way, I reported that at one time I said that it was 22 miles an hour. That number was in a story that I read that turned out to be wrong. As often is the case, some of the early information turns out to be incorrect. 9 miles an hour is what everybody now says. Alarms began to sound at 1:25. A key ship data recorder temporarily stopped recording when the power went out. Lights on the ship flickered on and off, and black smoke billowed into the air. Power was on and off, but there was no steering at all, the crew member told the Journal. At 1:26, now this is at 1:25 is when the power went off. At 1:26, they called the tugs to see if they could get them back in position to help them. But I think it was too late at that point. At 1:27, we're now 2 minutes from the time that the alarms began. The pilot gave orders to drop the port anchor and work to steer the ship away from the bridge. The scramble to clear the spans went out. 2 patrol units on either side of the bridge moved to close the lanes to traffic. At 1:29, the ship is now still traveling 7 knots per hour, which it takes forever for these ships when they're fully loaded to come to a complete stop. The ship's data recorder captured sounds akin to hitting the bridge at 33 seconds after 1:29. So here's what I want you to focus on. It's like 1:29 a.m. and 33 seconds, but the first alarm went off at 1:25. So they were fighting this thing for 4 minutes and 33 seconds, roughly. See, when you look at the video, you don't get that sense that that's how much time was involved. There was a bang and a terrible noise of steel being tangled, and the ship came to an abrupt halt. I saw the cars in the water and prayed that nobody was inside. It's going to take a long time to figure that one out. A lot of people said, well, there was a gap in the recording. I think it was only a few seconds out of the 4 minutes. And that's when the power failed. Some people have suggested that the auxiliary power may have gone off when they tried to run up the engine, surge the engines in reverse, and they just overloaded the system. The auxiliary power wasn't up to that kind of demand. Who knows? But one way or the other, I do know this. The NTSB will get to the bottom of all of this. They will get the answers. It just may take a while. But they're very thorough, and they're very, very good. Very quickly, I don't know what this is all about, but more than 1,600 aircraft have experienced disruptions linked to signal jamming, and it has hurt their ability to use GPS while flying over Europe. The technical issues began Sunday and have primarily affected civilian planes operating around the Baltic Sea. What does that tell you? It's the Russians. It's 20 minutes now past the hour of 6 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. Hey, I want to remind you that on April 20th, right after we get through doing our taxes, a few days after that, Beacon Capital Management has an annual Shred Day event, Saturday, April 20th from 8 to 11. Join the Beacon Capital Management folks in their parking lot. Just bring anything you might need, and you need to get rid of it, and they will shred it right there in your presence. Again, that's April 20th, 8 to 11, Beacon Capital Management's Franklin parking lot. Anything you need to shred, they'll help you out with it. If we've learned anything over the past few years, is that we can expect change. And for those nearing retirement, change can feel scary. If you're worried about how things like inflation and interest rates will affect your retirement nest egg, Use Beacon Capital Management's free retirement savings calculator. It's completely free, super fast, and you'll get your results right away. And then if you need to do a deep dive, there's a number you can call and talk to people and get some more information. See if they can help you. 615-488-9303. That's 615-488-9303. The experts at Beacon stand ready to take your stress away. Learn more at askbeaconnow.com.
What an absolute mess. Hey, it's Dan Mandison. Look at my closets. Unorganized to say the least. Even my window dormer is a train wreck. Stuff is everywhere. Now, luckily, California Closets is coming to my rescue. My personal design consultant, Vince, stopped by, measured, and is now showing me how to become more space efficient and organized on his 3D CAD system. It is amazing. And soon, my space is going to be organized, and yes, even Bandit approves. California Closets, a local company that can customize the storage in any room of your house. California Closets, what can they do for you? Find them online at californiaclosets.com and reach out for your free in-home consultation.
It is 25, we'll call it 26 minutes past the hour of 6 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. Brian Wilson in the closing minutes of our week and the closing minutes of today's show. On this Good Friday, we hope that you have a wonderful weekend as you head to spend time with family and celebrate Easter Sunday. There you go. Woo! That's right. You got your jelly beans. You got your chocolate eggs. You got your, I don't know, what else? What kind of... Is there a bad Easter candy? Really, I don't think there is.
Well, Peeps are pretty gross.
Yeah, those are pretty rancid.
You know what? I just thought of, you mentioned jelly beans. I forgot all about this. I love black jelly beans. Love them.
Really?
Love them. I'll eat a whole bag. I like the bags that only have the black jelly beans in them. I'll eat a whole bag.
Really?
Oh, good stuff.
I don't at all enjoy licorice at all. Don't eat it.
Something wrong with you, man.
No, I'm telling. Here we go. Here we go. I mean, that's going to be with you for the rest of the night.
Yep.
You'll be going to bed tonight, and you lay down and you close your eyes, and then you're going to hear hip, hip, hopping, hippie, hip, hip, hopping, hip, hopping, hippie, hip, hopping. I promise you will.
Instead of counting sheep, you'll be counting little fuzzy bunnies. Hip,
That's
hip,
right.
hopping.
That's right. And if you want to download this song, and by the way, I'm sorry on the stream you can't hear the song we're playing.
No, sorry.
But it's precious. It's adorable. You would love it.
Sure, yeah.
It's called what? Here Comes Peter Cottontail by the Hip Waiters.
Correct.
Hip Waiters. All right. Is that waders? Is WADER like, or waiters like?
No. Hip waders like you would put on if you're going fishing.
Right. Okay, I got you. The Hip Waiters. All right. Enough. Can we stop it? Well, we're at the end, so. Wow, ba-da-bum, bum. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the situation down on the border. We'll talk about a transition. Here is a story. You know, there's a lot of this stuff will make you angry. And when you really stop back and take a deep breath and look at the thing in totality, we get off in the weeds of this story or that story. This is happening today. That's happening. This is what somebody said. This is what they. But listen, when you look back. Listen to this story. Migrants apprehended in the northern border. So this is about the northern border section. We got a problem there as well. Migrants apprehended at northern border sector exceeded last 12 years combined. The Swanton sector Border Patrol agents apprehended more migrants crossing the Canadian border into the U.S. this year than in the past 12 years combined. It's not just the southern border, it's the northern border as well. Apparently unofficial Border Patrol reports reviewed by Breitbart reveal that Swanton sector agents apprehended more than 4,000 migrants during the first 5 months of fiscal year 24, which began in October of last year, October 23. That's the fiscal year. This is up by more than 100% over the same period in a record-shattering fiscal year 2023. ICE has made an arrest of 216 illegal immigrants with drug convictions in a nationwide operation. U.S. Immigrations and Custom Enforcement ICE officers have apprehended 216 illegal immigrants with convictions for drug trafficking or multiple drug possessions as part of the agency's latest nationwide operation. The latest enforcement effort took place from March 11th to March 26th across 25 different jurisdictions, including major cities such as Boston, Seattle, Washington, D.C. ICE's acting director, Patrick Lechner, told reporters at the press conference on March 28th. These were ICE enforcement removal officers, ERO officers, included illegal immigrants who have been charged with drug-related offenses involving methamphetamine, fentanyl, cocaine, heroin, or synthetic drugs, according to officials. I'm telling you, 216, that's a drop in the bucket, sadly. I mean, really, the numbers are so big here. And then there's this, the GOP senators have introduced legislation to ban illegals from using the CBP One app as an ID for travel. And that's right. They're flying into the country directly now. The Biden administration is flying illegal immigrants into the country directly. And, in order to get them on the planes, if they don't have an ID, all they have to do is show the app that they downloaded from the App Store and show them that is their ID and permission to travel. You and I try to do that, and they'd laugh us and throw us in the hoosegow in the Gray Bar Hotel. So there's an attempt underway to tell to make it law in the nation that you have to have legitimate identification before you can come to this country. It's 31 minutes now past the hour of 6 o'clock. Listen, if you want to take advantage of the big spring savings sale down at DT McCall and Sons, tomorrow is your last day. That's right. You really got to get on it. Get by one of their 5 convenient locations: Carthage, Lafayette, Lebanon, Cookeville, Franklin. And they got, some good prices out there. Maybe you need a new washer and dryer. They've got them. You need new appliances for the kitchen. They've got them. You need a bedroom suite. You need furniture. Yeah, they've got it. And, that's the thing about DT McCall's. Just about anything you could think of that you might want for your house, they're going to have it. And I'm telling you, you're going to be treated well. They have been around for 100 years, and the reason that they've been around for 100 years is they have a reputation for treating people fairly. And you already know about the fact that you're not going to be charged extra for the delivery, the setup, or the haul away. I mean, just so many good reasons. But, man, you've got to take action. The sale ends tomorrow. So get by one of your 5 convenient locations: Carthage, Lafayette, Lebanon, Cookeville, Franklin. DT McCall's. Learn more at their website, dtmccalls.com.
What an absolute mess. Hey, it's Dan Mandison. Look at my closets. Unorganized to say the least. Even my window dormer is a train wreck. Stuff is everywhere. Now, luckily, California Closets is coming to my rescue. My personal design consultant, Vince, stopped by, measured, and is now showing me how to become more space efficient and organized on his 3D CAD system. It is amazing. And soon, my space is going to be organized, and yes, even Bandit approves. California Closets, a local company that can customize the storage in any room of your house. California Closets, what can they do for you? Find them online at californiaclosets.com and reach out for your free in-home consultation.
All right, let's wrap it up and call it a week. What do you say? Got a few more minutes before we head it over to Mark Levin, the great one, who will carry on this evening. Man, I'm telling you, looking forward to the Easter weekend, time with family, celebrate Easter. I think there's a really nice ham in my future.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Nice. Gotta love an Easter ham.
I mean, that's what we always did. We had a ham at Easter, turkey at Thanksgiving, Christmas. All right. I want you to listen to this because there is a crisis on our horizon. And it's inevitable that it's going to happen. And it has to do with the lack of our country's interest in developing energy sources. And I'm talking mostly about electric energy here. We don't build electric generation plants anymore. And we tear down the ones that run on fossil fuel or natural gas or coal, whatever. We shut them down whenever we can. And yet our demands for electricity are about to skyrocket for a number of reasons. And at some point, the lack of our ability to generate electricity and the demand for electricity are going to cause severe problems in this country. Now, what I predict is that people are going to start being a lot more careful in the days ahead about how much electricity they use because they're going to have to, because it's going to be so damned expensive. When you have a demand for something and there's not enough of it, guess what happens? The immutable laws of supply and demand tell you that the price of that commodity will go up, and it's going to happen. I commend to your reading a story that I found in the Wall Street Journal today. The coming electricity crisis. Here we go. Projections for U.S. electricity demand growth over the next 5 years have doubled from a year ago. The major culprits: new artificial intelligence data centers, federally subsidized manufacturing plants, and government-driven electric vehicle transition. Let's start with that first one. Artificial intelligence data centers. I read this some time ago that, AI. So, you go to an AI piece of software and you have it develop some cute picture. I mean, I did this out of curiosity. I said, I want to see a picture of a French bulldog, cream colored, with an electric guitar, doing a Keith Richards or a Keith Moon, I guess it is. Is it Keith Moon? Who was the guy from The Who that did the Roundhouse?
Oh, no, that was, good grief.
No, I can't remember,
Peter, what's it? Pete Townsend.
Pete Townsend, yes. With a Pete Townsend, I can't believe I didn't remember that. Pete Townsend Roundhouse, around on the guitar. And in a matter of moments, I mean, literally, this picture appeared out of nowhere. And I thought, that's cute. I really love that. I was just experimenting. I'm just playing with it, Listen to this. Generating an image using a powerful AI model takes as much energy as fully charging your smartphone, according to a new study by researchers at the AI startup Hugging Face and Carnegie Mellon University. However, they found that using an AI model does just makes it a little easier. But if you just imagine it to, something you imagine in your head, you want to see a picture of it, that one picture, just to generate that, it takes as much electricity from some place where they do this magic stuff as it would to charge up your phone completely. And there are people just doing this by the millions all day long. So, I mean, the AI stuff is a power hog. I mean, it really eats up the power. The computing power eats up a lot of electricity, more than you might imagine. I remember going on a trip to Colorado years ago, about maybe 6-7 years ago. And I went to a friend's house and I said, I've never been to Wyoming. I'd like to go put my toe in Wyoming, say that I've been there, and go look it over. So we got in the car, we drove to Wyoming. And we're driving across some of the most bleakest parts of Wyoming, not the pretty parts, the really flat parts. And we saw some buffalo, and we're driving along, and in the middle of, I mean, absolute nowhere, there was this huge plant off to the left, steam coming out, all kinds, just a bristling, huge plant where there is nothing else around it for miles, just this huge facility. I said, what is that? And my friend told me, that's where your pictures are stored. That's the cloud. And I found out later that they put these things in places where there's an abundance of energy and access to the internet. And so that, companies look for places that have electricity and they build them. And then they have, by the way, they have several of these around the country. If one were to be somehow destroyed, it's replicated in other places. That's how the cloud is said to be so secure. But the energy requirements are astounding for this kind of stuff. And AI is only going to make it worse. So, again, major culprits: new artificial intelligence data centers, federally subsidized manufacturing plants, the government-driven electric vehicle transition. Georgia Power recently increased 17-fold its winter power demand forecast by 2031. citing growths in new industries such as EV and battery factories. AEP Ohio says new data centers and Intel's $20 billion planned chip plant will increase strain on the grid. PJM Interconnection, which operates the wholesale power market across 13 Midwest and Northeast states, this year doubled its 15-year annual forecast for demand growth. It projected power demands in the region for 2029 had increased by about 10 gigawatts, about the twice as much as New York uses on a typical day. And don't expect the power to come from New York, which is marching forward with a power shortage as it shuts down a nuclear and fossil fuel plant in favor of wind and solar. A new Micron chip factory in upstate New York is expected to require as much power by the 2040s as the state of New Hampshire and Vermont combined. Electricity demand to power data centers is projected to increase by 13% to 15%, compounded annually through 2030. Yet a shortage of power is already delaying new data centers by more than 2 to 6 years, according to commercial real estate firm CBRE Group. This month, in fact, Amazon struck a $650 million deal to buy a data center in Pennsylvania, which is powered by an on-site 2.5 gigawatt nuclear plant. Data centers, like manufacturing plants, require reliable power around the clock year-round, and wind and solar don't provide that. Businesses can't afford to wait for batteries to become cost-effective. Building transmission lines to connect distant renewables to the grid typically takes 10 to 12 years, and we're not doing anything. That's the thing. We're not doing anything. Because of these challenges, Obama Energy Secretary Ernest Moniz last week predicted that utilities will ultimately have to rely on gas, coal, and nuclear plants to support the surging demand. Not under the Biden administration, you're not. No. The Green New Deal people they'll have the vapors if you say that. We are not going to build 100 gigawatts of renewables in a few years, no kidding. And we're about to retire 20 gigawatts of fossil fuel power over the next 2 years, enough to power 15 million homes, including a large natural gas plant in Massachusetts that serves as a crucial source of electricity in cold snaps. And some plants are nearing the end of their useful life, but an onslaught of costly regulation is a bigger cause. Soon to be finalized Environmental Protection Agency rule would require natural gas plants to install expensive and unproven carbon capture technology. But then you got the don't worry though. Don't worry, they say. It's going to be okay, because guess what we're going to do? We're going to do a lot of wind and solar. Well, wind is problematic in that sometimes the wind doesn't blow. It's not consistent, it's not constant. Sometimes the wind will be good, and sometimes the wind will not be there at all. And what about solar? Yeah, Brian, what about solar? The sun's always going to shine. Well, no, not on cloudy days. Not in the winter as much as it does in the summer. And, the problem is they take up a lot of land, these solar farms. Huge. You need a lot of land to build one. And much of this open land that we would want to build, guess where it is? It happens to be in Tornado Alley. Listen to this story. Solar farm the size of 2,500 football fields destroyed in Texas amid growing solar e-waste problem. The hailstorm struck the 3,204-acre Fighting Jays solar farm, which is equivalent of nearly 2,500 football fields. Aerial video shows panels shattered with multiple impact points all along the field of panels. The hailstorm struck the 3,204-acre facility on March 17th. Aerial video shows panels shattered with multiple impact points everywhere. That storm produced 3.5 inches of rain in 15 minutes and a tremendous amount of hail. Some reports, according to the officials in Texas, said they were the size of softballs. Happens. Golf ball size hail, common occurrence in that part of the world. I know. I lived there. I used to chase these storms. Look at the hail hits on the panels. We're talking 590,000 panels, each of them useless now. Solar farms also wear out over time. While panels can last 40 years, their production efficiency declines considerably after 25 years, according to the National Renewable Energy Laboratory. After 20 years, a solar cell's energy production declines 10%. The cumulative waste volumes that will be produced as solar panels reach the end of their useful life will be as much as 78 million tons by 2050. There is a bad day coming, and we're not ready. We need to get serious about producing electricity in this country. 50 minutes now past the hour of 6 o'clock on Super Talk.
What an absolute mess. Hey, it's Dan Mandison. Look at my closets. Unorganized to say the least. Even my window dormer is a train wreck. Stuff is everywhere. Now, luckily, California Closets is coming to my rescue. My personal design consultant, Vince, stopped by, measured, and is now showing me how to become more space efficient and organized on his 3D CAD system. It is amazing. And soon, my space is going to be organized, and yes, even Bandit approves. California Closets, a local company that can customize the storage in any room of your house. California Closets, what can they do for you? Find them online at californiaclosets.com and reach out for your free in-home consultation.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.